This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
But you say he's just a friend.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Oi!
Before we start this show, let me make it very, very clear. If you love me, Sid Rosenberg, and you love Sid and Friends in the morning, if you're with her, you are not with me.
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Go.
Former President Trump's rally in Asheville.
Thousands gathered there to hear him speak in the battleground state. We start our coverage with Chloe Salsameda, who was inside the rally.
The former president spoke for about an hour and 15 minutes about how he plans to tackle the economy if elected. He says on day one, he'll sign an executive order to bring inflation down.
Hello to North Carolina. Thank you.
Former President Donald Trump speaking to a crowd of about 2,000 in Asheville.
Vote Trump and your incomes will soar, your savings will grow, young people will be able to afford a home.
Trump's speech focused on the economy and how Americans have been impacted by inflation.
Credit card debt has exploded, and it's exploded to the highest it's ever been, and the cost of a typical monthly mortgage has tripled.
He says if elected, he'll eliminate taxes on tips and Social Security and take steps to lower inflation and energy prices.
From the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again.
Before Trump took the stage, thousands of his supporters waited in line, eager to get a spot inside the arena.
Well, first of all, I support him. And second of all, he's just a character.
Oh, right there. Make America great again. We got to have Trump. We got to have him back.
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Go.
As Trump rallied his crowd, he vowed to lower the cost of prescription drugs within his first 100 days in office. He also discussed immigration.
If I win, you will have the largest deportation operation in American history, starting at noon on Inauguration Day 2025.
Senator, is there any doubt that you will not be there on October 1st to debate Walz?
Look, Laura, we want to actually look at the debates, look at the moderators, talk about the rules a little bit. CBS reached out to us about this literally 3 hours ago. I was landing from a rally and a press conference in Michigan. I strongly suspect we're going to be there on October the 1st, but we're not going to do one of these fake debates, Laura, where they don't actually have an audience there, where they don't actually set the parameters in the right way, where you can have a good exchange of ideas. In other words, we're not going to walk into a fake news media garbage debate. We're going to do a real debate. And if CBS agrees to it, then certainly we'll do it.
The one area politics is smart in is they are going to avoid the NFL. All those debates are going to be on Tuesdays and Wednesdays because they don't want to go up against the NFL.
Smart. The NFL doesn't want the debate to go up against them either. It goes both ways. Right?
So if they debate on a Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll probably have to talk about it.
I have to talk about it because Wednesday's a dead day in the NFL.
Right.
There you go. So there will be, and it will be a close race. It's going to go right down to the wire. If anybody thinks Trump's going to walk away, I'd make him the favorite, but only slightly.
Well, he's not. The betting markets now, I think, have her like at minus 120. I think that's what the betting market. I think,
I would still make him a slight favorite, because you know why? Because we know what he is. It's not going to change too much. She could go either way. Debate performance, answers questions from the media. She could go in a couple different directions. She's a little bit more fluid what that number could be. And she might be a big favorite by the time we get to November. Who knows? But she also might, she might have a couple of bad days here that would hurt her. Trump, Trump is Trump. What's going to change with Trump? He's going to beat her up in the debate, and they're going to yell and scream at each other. We know he does that anyway. So, he's going to have his fan base no matter what the case is. So I think it's going to go right down to the wire, and it's also going to go down probably to those 3 or 4 states with the 30,000, 40,000 in each state and which way they go. Wisconsin, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Where do they go? Do they go for Trump or they go for Harris?
Breaking news out of Columbia University. Manish Shafiq's resignation caps months of turmoil at the Ivy League campus. The school drew nationwide attention back in April when students barricaded themselves in buildings and police had to force them out. Shafiq's handling of those protests, along with questions over her management style, drew a lot of criticism. Naveen Dhaliwal has reaction from Morningside Heights.
A quiet campus, a complete opposite of the demonstrations we saw in the spring. Cheers erupt from a group of pro-Palestinian demonstrators as they react to the news of Minouche Shafik stepping down after criticism of her handling of protests on the Israel-Hamas war. In a letter to the Columbia community, she said, in part, "It has also been a period of turmoil where it has been difficult to overcome divergent views across our community. This period has taken a considerable toll on my family, as it has for others in our community." Pro-Israel activists say she did not crack down on the tent encampments, allowing the crowds to taunt students and move graduation celebrations from the school's iconic lawn. In April, hundreds of students were arrested on trespassing charges, refusing to pack up, and a mob took over Hamilton Hall. Later in the month, Shafik faced questions before a House committee about her handling of anti-Semitism on campus.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Columbia's code of conduct?
Yes, it does. Shafik stayed mostly tight-lipped, except for a video message she released in May.
Palestinian-Israeli conflict, anti-Semitism, and anti-Arab and anti-Muslim bias have existed for a long time. And Columbia, despite being a remarkable institution, cannot solve them single-handedly.
We spoke to one Jewish student Wednesday night, wondering about his future at the school.
To do this only 2 weeks before we return back to campus is only going to make that sense of insecurity become more real and grow exponentially. And I just feel like we're thrust into a situation in which we're really in a state of chaos.
Shafik's end of tenure comes 1 week after 3 deans resigned for sending insulting messages regarding Jewish panelists during an anti-Semitism forum.
To abandon a school where your students on both sides of political issues and in the middle already feel abandoned by you just feels like all of her messages have been insincere. And I really do understand like the personal toll on her. It's just disheartening for me as a student.
Now, Shafik is the third leader of an Ivy League university to resign after appearing before Congress. In a statement, Elise Stefanik released saying, 3 down, so many more to go.
The parade, I know I marched in the parade in Manhattan last year. I don't know if this is the same parade. And this is the first time it got on my radar when I was being briefed this morning. No one should be using any conversations in marching these parades. I know I'm often critiqued about doing flag raising. I want to send the right symbolic gesture that the city is open to everyone, and there's no room for hate. And if there is a float or a person in the parade that is promoting hate, they should not. I have not been invited to that parade that you're speaking of, but I don't support hate, and I make that clear. And to those who are stating that my terminology or my use of words does not fit into their criteria on what I should be saying, I just don't accept that. I have a long record on standing up on behalf of the Muslim community, probably a record that's more impressive than any of the elected officials from the days of 9/11, using my attorney to start the first Muslim Officer Society, to standing up when women are attacked for wearing a hijab, to marching the street with Muslims when it was a Kill a Muslim Day, to have the largest demonstration at Borough Hall for Yemenis Americans when Donald Trump did the Muslim ban.
Hammered in the air, deep to left field, history, number 300 for Aaron Judge, the fastest man ever in Major League Baseball to reach the 300 home run plateau.
I call you, I need you, my heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wild. You come to me, give me everything I need.
Simply the best. He really is the best. I don't know how you argue that. This is the late, great Tina Turner. Simply the best. Right after you heard our friend Ryan Rocco's call on Aaron Judge's 300th career home run last night. The Yankees blew out the White Sox last night 10-2, and Judge becomes the quickest player to reach the 300 home run plateau. That honor belonged in the past to former Pittsburgh Pirate great, and some would argue New York Met media great, Ralph Kiner. I know as a kid I watched Kiner's Corner many times. It was awful. Awful. I wasn't even sure, God rest his soul, if he was sober half those shows. I'm being honest. Totally honest. But Kiner got there the fastest until Judge launched number 300 last night. He leads the majors right now with 43 home runs, only 2 years removed from breaking Roger Maris's record. And, of course, at least to this day, there seems to be no controversy surrounding Aaron Judge about possible steroid use. I mean, it feels like in the past 30 years or so, anytime a player assaults any home run records, right away we mention steroids. That's fair to say, right, Lou? Almost every player.
Yeah, but why is it immediately right away? I mean, the guy's been doing it since he's come into the league.
Listen, maybe that's why they're not doing it with him. I don't know. I mean, They didn't do it with Pujols, who had an amazing career between St. Louis and Anaheim. Amazing. One of the best players ever. They didn't do it with him. They didn't do it with Jeter. But, of course, Jeter wasn't the home run hitter that Judge is. Just about everybody else.
But when you see Barry Bonds during his Pittsburgh days, he was a skinny
Right. He looked like Chris Rock.
Right.
He went from Chris Rock to like...
He was a mountain when he got to the Giants.
Right, to Lennox Lewis in about 5 minutes. No, there's no question Bonds did steroids. Yeah. And Alex Rodriguez did them. We know that. And Canseco did them. McGuire did them. Sosa did them. A whole bunch of players did them. But there's never been that controversy in and around Aaron Judge. And he's just a spectacular. He's unbelievable. Unbelievable player. He's a very good defensive outfielder, too, mind you. He plays all three outfield positions and does a very good job in center field.
He's an excellent player.
Unbelievable
that's
player.
All there is to it.
Bottom
line.
line.
He's dominating the game.
On a team that has legendary history with names like Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra. I guess it goes on, Reggie Jackson, Derek Jeter, Babe Ruth, obviously. I'm talking about offensive players, not even the pitchers. On a team with that tradition and that talent, Aaron Judge is right there.
Yep.
He's right there.
Dooley Womack. Horace Clark. You could just...
Fred Stanley.
Chicken Stanley.
Mickey Klutz.
Excellent. Excellent players. Dick Tidrow.
Dickie Tidrow. He was one of those guys that played for the Mets and the Yankees, Dick Tidrow.
I think Dick Tidrow could have logged more innings just setting up Gossage and Sparky Island.
Yeah.
He came in
not a bad job.
Right.
Yeah.
He was good.
It's kind of like when the Yankees won those 4 World Series under Torrey. We all talk about Jeter, and we deserve it. We talk about Bernie Williams. We talk about Andy Pettitte. But outside the first one, when they came back to beat Atlanta, and the closer then was John Wetland, whose life has not gone very well since. His setup guy was Rivera. But after that, when you had Stanton and Nelson setting up Mariano, Torrey couldn't lose. Couldn't lose.
What was the other guy? The English guy, Graham Lloyd?
Graham Lloyd was there, too.
Oh, I'll take the third spot, no problem. Hello, well, I'll lose.
I think it all went to hell when Jabba Chamberlain showed up. I don't know. But at any rate, Aaron Judge getting it done last night. But today, when I walked in, Lewis, you can tell. I think the first thing you said to me was, well, you look happy today.
No, I could tell in 5 seconds.
How, though? Why? What did I do?
Oh, maybe the yelling is an indication. I don't know. That could be behind me. But good. And it's a running. It seems to be like a train that's out of control. And
I don't like feeling that way early in the morning, I'd rather wake up and be happy, and I should be happy. I'm heading to Bedminster, New Jersey later on today, and I'm going to see President Trump later on tonight. Now, Trump has a press conference coming up from New Jersey at 4:30. We'll talk about the economy, Harris tomorrow. But there's another event after Trump's press conference at Bedminster at 5:30 that I've been invited to. And I'll tell you more about that later. So I'm going to see Trump tonight, which makes me very happy. Should be in a great mood.
Let's go.
But I can't. There are two things that are lighting a fire under my ass, which now you can include a 6-inch flame in that. Two things that have really bothered me. Let me do one now. So a couple of days ago, I contended that the reason why WCBS 880 is out of business was because of my rating success. Now, let me explain to you people out there, both in the industry and listeners, that when I did that, that was a combination of, obviously, tongue-in-cheek, and I was being serious. Both. I was. The anger and vitriol coming from people in the business. Forget about the moronic listeners. Some of them are just morons. Same thing over and over again. We're doing this for years. Narcissist, inflated head, all that stupid stuff, you know. As if Howard Stern doesn't have that, Don Imus. Every successful radio host, and I'm not as successful as those guys. I'm not that silly. I know I'm not. But every successful radio host has that. I go, what about Bernie? Bernie wasn't a host, okay? Bernie was a team player for Imus for the better part of 30 years, and it wasn't until the very, very end of his career that they teamed Bernie with me, not the other way around. You guys don't know anything about this business or what we did here. They teamed Bernard with me, but Bernie was never a host. He filled in on Fridays with Connell McShane. He did a great job with me, but he wasn't a host. You talk about the guys that are the hosts for 20 years, 30 years. I hosted my own shows in Florida for the better part of 15 years and got ratings. All of those guys have very, very similar personalities. You can't be a great radio host, especially in a city like this, without some bravado. Some have more than others. It doesn't matter. This station, before John Catsimatidis showed up, was a nightmare. No ratings. None. Trust me. Even Imus. Pretty big audience. Great revenue. Until the very end. But no ratings. For the longest time, me and Bernard, if I told you what the numbers were when me and Bernie took over for Imus, you wouldn't believe it. 20%. 20 of what I'm doing now. So don't tell me about the radio host and their personalities and their narcissism and arrogance. Don't tell me about that, okay? Part of the reason why you listen to this show is because you, just like you like Trump. Just like you like Trump. It's the same thing. So when I make that statement, and again, I wasn't kidding, but there was some tongue-in-cheek in there. I would expect a few idiots would have their criticisms, but then when you start to hear from people in the business, and I'll leave names out. Come on, Sid. The Sid I knew at WFAN is not that guy. He must have changed. No, dickface, I haven't changed at all. I'm the same exact guy. Now, of course, I'm the host of the morning show. When I was at FAN, it was Imus. They had Mike and the Mad Dog, 3 huge stars. And as Eddie Scazzeri would draw outside of my studio, he would put the number 2 and draw a fiddle. And whether it was me and Jody McDonald or me and Joe Beningo, the joke was the midday show was always going to be second fiddle in between Imus and Mike and the Mad Dog. I got all that. It's funny.
Quite an artist he was. He was good.
Quite an artist.
Yeah.
And I was frustrated with that. I remember sitting down with Lee Davis and Mark Chernoff one day saying, I'm not okay being fourth. And I'll never be more than fourth. As long as Don and Mike and Chris are here, I'll never be better than fourth. Even that you can call arrogant, because you had Beningo, you had Steve Summers, you had other greats. I was like, I'm not okay with that. So I went down to Florida, and I became that guy, the first guy. Sometimes, even there, guys like Dan Levitard and Joe Rose had built-in audiences. But now I'm that guy. I'm that guy. That's it, okay? There's nobody close Want to be honest? At this station or any station in New York, I'm the guy. Love me, hate me, narcissist, having fun, however you want to describe it, I'm the guy. So when I come out and make a statement like that, and you start to blare, and they go, Sid, I'll tell you this, there is no truth to that. First of all, you don't know that. You don't, because every person I've read, I can promise you this, I speak to Chris Olivero and the big guys at Odyssey more than you do. Not that Olivero ever said to me, hey, you're the reason why we're shutting down 880. Never, I can promise you that on my dead father. But don't tell me what you know. You know nothing. Nothing. Just like I don't know anything. I have no idea. I threw that out there because I knew it would get reaction. And it did. Right? Barrett Media wrote a story about it, and you've got people all over New York on the message boards freaking out.
That's
freaking out.
Took. It was pretty easy.
I know it. I said it during that morning. Get ready for this. And then you people, as predictable as can be, and stupid as can be, did exactly what I thought. So,
Sid, why don't you calm down? You just take the high road.
Take the high. Yeah, you know, Sid, you need to really calm down. Your head. I'm not going to apologize. Look, we've got our demo, okay? It ain't 25-54. We've been over this. We've got our demo. They rate WOR, the competition, the same demo. And I bludgeon everybody. And I'm going to tell you that part of the reason why that's the case is because, along with great guests, great music, great sports, great teammates like Lewis, Justin, Noam, Liz today, all of that, part of that is the arrogance. People like it. This is New York, bitch. We're not in La Crosse, Wisconsin. We're not in Clarksville, Tennessee. All right? I know I would put on Imus and Stern because I wanted to hear them beat their chest. And if it meant beating up one of their cast members, so what? I'm not taking any glee in those people losing their jobs. I've been there. All the guys that are complaining about me, I've been there more than you. Now, most of the time when I lost my job, I'll be honest about this, it was my fault. My fault, right? I'm the guy that was doing cocaine and drinking in bars all across Manhattan when I should have been at work. I admit that. It was self-inflicted. I admit that. But not every time. And even when it was self-inflicted and you've got a wife and a young child, it sucks. It sucks. It's humiliating and it sucks. And I take no glee in people losing their jobs. But let me make this point too for all you critics out there. If those guys at 880 were really good at their jobs and getting ratings, which they didn't, they'd still be working today. This is a cutthroat business, okay? Nobody cares how long you've been doing it. If my ratings get cut in half, when I want to sit down and renegotiate my new contract next December, it ain't going to go well. It ain't going to go well. That's how the business works. If you're doing well, they don't bother you. When you're not doing well, things happen like what happened to 880 a couple of days ago. Okay? So let's stop the nonsense. Everybody crying, these poor people. It sucks. It does. But this is the business we're in. You produce or you're done. And they've got 10-10 wins. They don't need it. And if you want entertaining news, who does it better than me? If that makes me a narcissist, great. Have fun with it. Jerk yourself off.
I said it.
That's right. Thank you, Levin. So grow up. Stop being a bunch of babies. If you don't like me, we don't like my attitude, don't listen. But don't listen and then complain. Because I don't care what you say. Because for the millionth time, the listeners will never, ever, ever, ever dictate what my content is or who I am. Ever. I don't care. 3 can leave today. 3 more will come tomorrow. I don't care. So if you listen, don't complain, which brings me to my next complaint, which is about President Donald Trump. But before I do that, we're going to take a short break. Let you know we got great guests stopping by today. Curtis Sliwa, he's always great. Alex Traiman, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Alan Dershowitz and Bill O'Reilly. That's a heck of a show. So, how am I going to make my next Trump statement analogous to what I just said about me? Stick around, folks, like you all are going to do, and you're going to find out.
Sid is great.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
I hear the sound of your guitar coming from the mystic far, stone and the gravel in your voice, come in my dreams and I rejoice. It's your moving through the night, spirit filled with light. I need you by my side. Your love and I
Bruce Springsteen as I get set to make my way to Bedminster, New Jersey. You know, when Bruce comes on, New Jersey's going to be in the conversation, going to see President Trump later on tonight. So, that first segment, there was very little talk about the economy. There was none, in fact, or Israel, or the economic plan that Trump will unveil today, Harris tomorrow. None of that. About me. Me and WCBS and some of the pros in this business who should know better, but they don't. What does that remind me of? Trump. Let me tell you why. One more person says to me, one more, Donald Trump needs to just talk about the policies. I'm going to vomit all over myself. Man, I am so tired of that. I'm tired of it. I didn't do any quote-unquote policy conversation in that first segment because that's it, right? You're going to get all that. You're going to get real smart conversation with great guests, folks that know a lot more about this stuff than I do. And all of it, whether it's Adams in the city, Hochul in the state, Bibi in Israel, Trump, Harris, you get it all, okay? But you're also going to get some of that Sid bravado like you just got. You're going to get the family stuff, the lifestyle stuff, all the stuff that makes this show popular. That's Trump. You know, Peter King, I love Peter King, really as much, if not more than anybody. And I really mean that. I'm not just throwing hyperbole out there. I love the guy. Love him. Love Rosemary. Love Eric and Aaron and Sean. The whole family. Pete is a great, loyal friend. But let's have an honest conversation, okay? If you're listening to me long enough, you know that I spent the better part of a year trying to convince Peter King and Bo Dietl and a host of others that Donald Trump was the right candidate. And they all gave me the same nonsense. He can't win. He can't win. That's why Haley or DeSantis, you remember, I'm not making this up, almost every week for a year. He can't win. Then, when he wins a nomination, now they all love him. He's my guy. But there's always a but. Let me ask you this. Do you ever hear Democrat voters ever criticize Hillary Clinton? Never. Ever hear Democrat voters criticize Joe Biden, who's a mess, who can't complete a... You'll never hear it. Never. Have you heard Democrat voters come out and criticize Harris and Walz? Never. Do you think that some of these voters have issues with them? Of course they do. Of course they do. They're a grotesque ticket Not every Democrat is stupid. They're loyal. They're going to vote for him, but they're not stupid. But they'll never criticize him. All you people do, and I had this in the gym last night. Sweet guy, great American, huge Trump supporter. Sid, can you talk to Trump? First of all, guys, here's going to be less arrogant than usual. I don't just call Trump. We're not that close. I wish I was. I'm not. I'm going to see Trump tonight. He comes on this show pretty regularly. We did have a nice lunch together in Mar-a-Lago 2 months ago, but I'm not that close with Trump. So when you say, Sid, can you talk to Trump? I'm not sure if you're being serious or kidding, but I'm here to admit it doesn't go that way, okay? But if I could, I would never relay any of your messages. Some guy yesterday's like, Sid, with the stupid advice, let Trump be Trump. Well, I mean it. Let Sid be Sid. That's why you listen. Let Trump be Trump. You know, yesterday in North Carolina, during Trump's rally, he talked about signing executive order to lower inflation day one. They tell you yesterday that inflation is finally under 3%. If you know anything about the economy, savvy people like Shane Siderman, Monica Crowley, Larry Kudlow, Charlie Gasparino, no, folks, inflation's about 20%, not 3%, but fine, okay. He talked about that. Talked about no taxes on tips and Social Security. He talked about lowering energy prices. He talked about making America affordable again by lowering prescription drug prices. He talked about putting together the largest deportation plan in the history of the country. He talked about a lot of policy and a lot of stuff. You know what else he did? He killed Kamala. He killed her. She's stupid. She is stupid. She is. I don't care what Bill O'Reilly says or anybody else. She's stupid. The next time Harris has a new idea will be the first time in her life. She steals everything. She's a walking plagiarist. She either stole what Biden said, now she's stealing what Trump says. He did all that. That's Trump. Trump is Ric Flair. Trump is that wrestler who takes the mic in the middle of the ring, and before he devours his opponent, whether it's fixed or not, he tells you why he's going to do it and how he's going to do it. That's Trump. He's been that way for 10 years. He has moments where he's real focused, then he has moments when he's not. I don't care. That is not going to win or lose the election. All I hear about are these statistics. You know, the independents, where are they coming from? Who are these independents? I talk to a lot of people, folks, a lot. A lot of people stop me in the streets. I don't know one person, not one, that is not sure who they're voting for. Not one. No one has said to me, you know, I may vote for Trump if he's nice. Not one. So all this talk about independence and Trump is going to lose the election, he's turning people off. You know who says that? Here's what's ironic. You know who says that? People who say they're voting for Trump. They're voting for Trump and they're the first to criticize Trump. No, you don't get it, Sid, because we want him to win. He's not going to win. He's going to win. Shut the F up. Let Trump be Trump. Let Sid be Sid. Let Trump be Trump. This is what he does. That's him. That's all part of this beautiful package of what was a great presidency for 4 years and what hopefully will be a great presidency again. A lot of the same folks that tell me every day Trump needs to relax are the same folks that spent all last year telling me he's not the guy. Haley, DeSantis, Tim Scott, not him. So right off the bat, you lose some credibility. So if you hate what I've said so far today about myself and about Donald Trump, that's fine. That's okay. But that's how I feel. Let Sid be Sid, let Trump be Trump, and shut up. If you love this show, love it. If you don't love it, don't listen. There's a lot to listen to out there. You got the guys at OR. They're great. They are terrific.
What's that? Riedel, right?
Riedel and Lenny.
That's good.
You got Boomer. Boomer right now is probably talking about J.J. McCarthy being out for the Vikings and the Giants' big preseason game against the Texans and the Jets. And the Mets got a win, broke a 4-game losing streak, and you'll get Aaron Judge up the ass all day. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. Have a great time. Or you can get all of that, plus 6 great interviews, and the important stuff with me. But if you don't like it, fine. See ya.
And Aaron Judge.
And Aaron Judge, right. If you don't like it, go. Goodbye. And if you want Trump to win, try this. Just try this. Stop criticizing the guy for a week. Stop telling me, no, I'm not. I want him to win. I'm nervous. If you want him to win and you're nervous, then just support him. Just support him. If he says something about Kamala, so what? It's like Christopher Mad Dog Russo. Some will say, I'm right there, he's the greatest sports talk show host ever. Ever. Part of that legendary Mike and the Mad Dog combination. And he was on with some guy, Jimmy Trainer, who I don't know. Jimmy does some sports podcast yesterday. Sal Licata, who does the midday show at The Fan with Brandon Tierney, was on the same show. And Jimmy brought up politics with Dog, and I know Dog is very uncomfortable talking about politics, but for a guy that's uncomfortable, he wouldn't shut the F up. He would not shut the F up. So
I don't care.
I know you don't talk, but clearly you do. So we played one of his cuts in the open. We'll do it again here. Cut number 11, where he talks about the betting odds, Trump versus Harris. And he said what I said, basically, which is Trump is Trump. You know the guy already. It's been 10 years, folks. It's been 3 primaries. He's 78 years old. He's not going to become Winston Churchill this morning. Stop it. Even Russo knows that, and he spends 23 hours a day talking about baseball. Here's Dog, cut 11.
The one area politics is smart in is they are going to avoid the NFL. All those debates are going to be on Tuesdays and Wednesdays because they don't want to go up against the NFL.
Smart. The NFL doesn't want the debate to go up against them either. It goes both ways. Right?
So if they debate on a Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll probably have to talk about it.
I'll have to talk about it because Wednesday's a dead day in the NFL.
Right.
There you go. So there will be, and it will be a close race. It's going to go right down to the wire. If anybody thinks Trump's going to walk away, I'd make him the favorite, but only slightly.
Well, he's not. The betting markets now, I think, have her like at minus 120. I think that's what the betting market. I think,
I would still make him a slight favorite, because you know why? Because we know what he is. It's not going to change too much. She could go either way. Debate performance, answers questions from the media. She could go in a couple of different directions. She's a little bit more fluid what that number could be. And she might be a big favorite by the time we get to November. Who knows? But she also might, she might have a couple of bad days here that would hurt her. Trump, Trump is Trump. What's going to change with Trump? He's going to beat her up in a debate, and they're going to yell and scream at each other. We know he does that anyway. So, he's going to have his fan base no matter what the case is. So I think it's going to go right down to the wire, and it's also going to go down probably to those 3 or 4 states with the 30, 40,000 in each state and which way they go. Wisconsin, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Where do they go? Do they go for Trump or they go for Harris?
So he tried really hard there, Doggy, to stay down the middle. He even talked on the podcast about being that guy. He admitted that the day after the debate, even though he wanted to talk sports, he had no choice. He had to talk about the debate. The whole world was, and he tried to stay down the middle. I don't stay down the middle, okay? But what you didn't hear in those cuts was this part of the conversation where Jimmy Trainer, again, do I know Jimmy? Look, I don't think so.
I don't think you do.
Yeah.
But we've played a couple of cuts in the past from his podcast. Yeah.
Well, he called Trump an animal, so that's what Jimmy did. Just genius.
Okay, so we're not going to play anymore.
So here's what Dog says. He goes, what is he doing? Russo said about Trump via awful announcing. This was awful announcing, okay? He goes, Biden announces he's going to leave, drop out, and Trump kills him. Say what you want about him. But Biden did give his freaking life to the United States from 1972 on. He also had tragedy in his life with his wife and child who died in that car accident. I think his heart, whether you like his policy or not, is generally speaking in the right place. I think he cares. Goes on to say the fact that Trump can't let him leave the scene quietly and give him his day. Even Biden, when Trump got shot, said, quote, I'm going to call him and he called him by his first name. Even Biden has at times to be above the fray. It really bothered me. Don, can you let the man for 24 hours, 6 months before the election go out with a little grace and not pound him? That really bothered me. That was the real Russo, right? Not the one you just heard. He's got a chance. Harris has a chance. Bah, bah, bah. The real Russo is what you just heard. The guy that doesn't like Trump. Now, if he hears this, he's going to say, hey, Sid, I know Trump longer than you. I like, maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. But that's the real Russo. That bothered him. He couldn't let Biden leave with some decency. I mean, Chris, I know you're a sports guy. It was Biden's DOJ that tried to put Donald Trump in prison 10 times. It was Biden's Secret Service and Biden's FBI that nearly got Trump killed. Are you paying any attention? What do you mean he deserves some grace from Trump? You guys are all saying the same thing. Biden deserves none of it, and neither does Harris. Harris spends almost half of her rallies calling Trump a convicted felon, but you expect Trump to be above the fray. He shouldn't do that. They can say whatever they want about Trump. He's a convicted felon. They call him a rapist. That's not even accurate. They threw the rape charge out. That's grounds for a lawsuit. And they do it every day. Every day. And the Trump people don't bitch. But as soon as Trump goes off script and says something about Harris, the Trump people start, no. We're going to lose. Shut up. Let him be Trump. This other party has spent the better part of a decade since that poor bastard came down the escalator. Before he even mentioned any policy, he was just coming down the escalator, and these people, his friends, the same people he gave money to, went to their weddings, the Oprah Winfreys, the Hillary Clintons, all these animals started killing him that day, and it's gotten worse every day. He wasn't even president the last 3 years, and MSNBC and CNN started every show every morning killing Trump. So stop bitching about Trump. Stop telling me Trump has to be a nice guy. I don't want him to be a nice guy. I hate the Democrat Party. I hate them. They are everything wrong with this country. They're a bunch of liars. They are liars and bad people. And everything they say about Trump is them. So I want Trump's policies just like you do. But I want Trump to be Trump. So if you're a Republican, do me a favor. Want the same thing and STFU.
Hangs on the back of my bedroom door. Who's on the Spurs you used to ride? Click down the hall but never arrive. It's just your moving through the night, the spirit filled with light. I need you by my side. Your loving up the light. I can feel the blood shiver in my bones. I'm alive, and I'm out here on my own. I'm alive, and I'm coming home. Open the twin from Johnny's music downtown.
This is Sid on Sports. Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your bottom of the hour sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, paviliontankless.com. Find a dealer near you. They are the world's best built boilers. On the diamond in Chicago, Aaron Judge reached 300 home runs faster than any other player, going deep to capture the milestone in the Yankees' 10-2 win over the White Sox last night. Judge hit the mark in his 955th game and 3,431st at bat with a 3-run drive in the 8th inning. The 6-time All-Star and 2022 American League MVP drove a Chad Kuhl school sinker into the White Sox bullpen and left for his major league leading 43rd homer. Ralph Kiner reached 300 homers in his 1,087th game, and Babe Ruth did in his 3,831st at-bat. Chicago had intentionally walked Juan Soto to bring up Judge after Soto had homered in the first inning off Davis Martin, his 4th in 2 games and 34th this season. Austin Wells followed Judge's drive with one of his own, the 8th time this season New York has hit back-to-back homers. He also capped a 3-run 7th by driving in 2 with a single that put the Yankees on top 4-2. From the trainer's room, New York plays third baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr. sprained left elbow on the 10-day IL. They're waiting for more doctors to weigh and determine whether he needs surgery. If he does, he's probably out for the year. Up next for the Yankees, they'll enjoy an off day today before opening a 3-game weekend set at Detroit starting tomorrow night. As for the Mets and Queens, Pete Alonso had 4 hits that included a 4th-inning homer and 3 RBI to lead the Mets over the Oakland A's 9-1, stopping a 4-game losing streak there. Francisco Lindor, I should say, had 2 hits and 2 RBI. Mark Vientos had a go-ahead run-scoring double for the Mets, who were outscored 31-5 in their terrible, right?
By Seattle and Oakland.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea, Alec?
Yes.
There's only one NFL team now. They just reached this plateau. Congratulations. Mm-hmm. There's now one NFL team worth $10 billion. Want to take a guess?
The Cowboys?
Yes.
Oh.
Excellent job.
I feel like that was pretty obvious.
Second on the list, just under $8 billion, the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Third on the list at about $7.5 billion.
Who?
My New York Football Giants.
Yeah, that all checks out.
There you go. Cowboys $10 billion, Rams closer to 8, Giants around 7.5.
Well, maybe the Giants should spend a little bit of that money on a new stadium.
Oh, Giants. What about Dallas? You got $10 billion. How about giving C.D. Lamb, the best wide receiver in the game, some money?
Yeah.
You know, Jerry Jones?
And that'll cost a little less than a stadium.
I would think so.
Get to it, Jerry. Speaking of the NFL, J.J. McCarthy, this is tough news for the Vikings. His season is over really before it even begins. His team announcing he'll be sidelined until 2025 after undergoing surgery yesterday to repair that torn meniscus in his right knee. The news ruptured the increasing optimism around McCarthy's on-field progress. It left the team with veteran Sam Darnold, who signed a 1-year contract worth $10 million in March as its likely 2024 starter. The other quarterbacks on the roster for the Vikings are 2023 holdovers Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall. So, it's
by the way, the Giants play the Vikings week 1.
There you go.
I'll be there.
So they should be able to beat Sam Darnold in the Vikings.
Oh, you better beat Sam Darnold if you're the Giants. Want to be taken seriously? Yes.
There you go. Sports sponsored by Pete Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, paviliontechless.com. Find a dealer near you. They're the world's best boat boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
My Instagram, at rosenberg.sydney. That's an S-I, not S-Y. Instagram, at rosenberg.sydney. Facebook, Sid Rosenberg. Lighting up, and my text as well, with Let Sid Be Sid, Let Trump Be Trump, with a bunch of flames. Glad you like that, folks, and that's how I feel. You know, I'm watching MSNBC right now. They're killing Trump for moving off message during his rally yesterday and insulting Harris. Let them do that. Let them do that. Stop worrying about it. Don't talk to me about it. If you're a Trump supporter, love him. That's it. He's got flaws. We've known it for 10 years. We've known it for 40 years. If you knew Donald Trump before this, so what? He's the only choice. Congratulations to John Catsimatidis and Chad Lopez. If you buy today's New York Post, I mean the physical copy, not online, on page 20, you're going to notice this. Nice picture of John on the left and Chad on the right. And it reads this. For the past 100 years, AM radio has been free for U.S. consumers. Recently, General Motors and other car manufacturers have spent over $7 million trying to eliminate AM radio. Do not buy a car without AM radio. GM is attempting to influence Congress, making themselves an adversary to consumers. We will publish a list of all House and Senate members who have received money from these lobbyists. Keep AM radio free. FEMA relies on AM radio to reach 95% of Americans during emergencies. And then it goes on to talk about AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act of 2023, where both John and Chad have worked very hard over the last year in going to different locations across the United States to make sure that AM radio stays and is free. That is a great job by John Katsimatidis and Chad. That doesn't mean that WABC may not invest one day and maybe one day soon. I don't know. They don't talk to me about this. In an FM dial. I don't know. Maybe. Frequency, I should say. I don't know. But 1 AM right now. And for an AM station, we're doing very, very well. Lots of New Yorkers, lots of them. More than 880, I'm sorry. Count on us for their news with entertaining delivery every morning. And we're AM. So congratulations to John and Chad. Once again, page 20 of today's New York Post for fighting the good fight. That wraps up hour number one. Big hour number two about to come your way. We're going to Israel. There was a report yesterday. This is pretty hard to believe, that the United States provided Iran with names of the Mossad, Israelis' intelligence. Both Mark Levin and Caroline Glick say this really happened in an effort to tip them off, picking Iran over Israel. We'll talk to Alex Traiman about that at 7:45. And, of course, he's great every weekday morning. Curtis Sliwa coming up next with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Bill O'Reilly, and Alan Dershowitz on deck. Hour two coming up.
I want to publish scenes and rage against machines. I want to pierce my tongue. It doesn't hurt, it feels fine. The truth is sublime. I like to turn off time. You kill my mind. You kill my
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Go.
Paradise City at 7:13 on your Thursday morning, kicking off hour number two with a huge guest list. Alex Traiman live in Israel, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Bill O'Reilly, Alan Dershowitz, and more. But, of course, we put this time aside every weekday morning, and he's on every day because he's great. I always say he's great. Great ratings, hosting the Rip and Read, noon to 1 every weekday afternoon, overnight weekends. And with me, and he came in this morning and he said, you know, I had to defend one of the members of our team, because it is our team. We've got 6 people on this show, right? 6. We've got me, we've got Lou, we've got Justin, we've got Noam, usually Lizzie today, we've got Joe Nolan, and we've got Curtis. Those are the 6 people that are on this show every day. Curtis is part of that team. You know, I defend one of the people on our team yesterday, and it turns out that it was an argument over the great guitarist from that band, Guns N' Roses, Slash. The last thing I expected to hear from you this morning, Mayor Adams, sure, me and CBS, sure, Slash, and one of our teammates. What's that all about?
Yes, well, I actually told Lou Ruffino in the kitchen yesterday that I took a bullet for him.
Not again, not literally. You're taking 6.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because this guy comes up to me in the street. He's got the Guns N' Roses classic T-shirt on, with the 2 guns and the roses. So he fired one of the guns at me. He goes, yeah, I'm from Seaside Heights. Been a longtime friend of Joe, Jetts, Nolan. Because Joe, he's slumming around all those gin mills. And he goes, you got to tell that Lou Ruffino, I used to listen to him with Imus. How dare he say that Slash was only good enough to be in the top 100 guitarists of all time. He is the greatest of all time. He starts getting into an argument with me.
Crazy.
I had to defend Lou Ruffino. How long ago was this? And then he attacks you. He said, what's wrong with your boy Sid? Doesn't he know that Slash is a Jew? His name is Saul.
Yeah, and I did know that, and I actually was a little surprised that Lou didn't have him higher on the list, but I'm going to say this, too. What's this guy's name?
Oh, I know. He's a friend of Joe, Jetts, Nolan.
Let me say what I said in the first hour. Let Sid be Sid, let Trump be Trump, and shut up. I was a little surprised that Lou had him that low on the list, but Lou knows a lot more about music than I do.
He's the expert.
Right. So if Lou says it, I buy it, and whoever this maniac is, this Beavis and Butthead wannabe, probably a 50-year-old guy, just calm down. If you love the guy, great. Doesn't mean he's the all-time best.
Did I do the right thing and take a bullet for Lou?
Well, you do that for all the guys on this show.
Yeah, but, Lou took my job originally.
Well,
I'm still smart over that. Okay.
Yeah. But that wasn't Lou's call. It's kind of like with me and CBS. I had nothing to do with that.
Oh, we'll get to that momentarily. But first, your analogy of when you go to Bedminster saying that Donald Trump is like Ric Flair.
He is.
Was magnificent.
One of the greatest, if not the greatest, entertaining wrestler of all time.
What? Woo! 5 decades, 6, strike while the iron is hot. Woo! Right?
Yeah.
Nature boy, Ric Flair, 5 decades. He's been wrestling about 60 years. I would say Bruno Sammartino, others would say Hulk Hogan, but there's a lot of people out there say Ric Flair.
Ric Flair's the best ever.
Yeah, the point is, you were so right. When he grabs that microphone in the center of the ring and he starts riffing, this guy is magnificent. He doesn't need a teleprompter.
And that's Trump at the rally. Again, yesterday he talked about the economy. He talked about a whole bunch of stuff that all you folks complain he doesn't talk enough about. And then he grabs the mic, he goes Ric Flair, and instead of celebrating it, I've got Republicans, quote-unquote Trump supporters, I'm not so sure, that complain all the time.
So later on today, you're going to be at Bedminster with President Donald Trump.
Yes.
You have competition from Brooklyn.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, this is a battle, right? This is a battle between Trump and Giggles Harris, right? Am I right? All right.
Yes.
Do you know that tonight, a woman who made her bones in Brooklyn, not far from where you grew up in Midwood, she also has a big schnoz like you, Barbara Streisand, will be hosting a conference called Jewish Women for Kamala. And we're going to see who has more juice. The Jewish diva who fled Brooklyn, Erasmus High School graduate, fled to California, or Sid Rosenberg, who's maintained his Brooklyn roots. Hey, this is a big battle.
It is a big battle.
Which Jewish schnoz is going to curry more favor?
It is interesting, though, now that you bring that up, because there's a website. It's on Instagram, actually, an Instagram page. Jewish Women for Kamala. And I went on there and I said a bunch of really horrible things, really immature and horrible things, of which I'm all proud of. Because I can't believe that any Jewish person, let alone woman, do I need to keep explaining to the Jewish women about the girls that are still being raped in the Gaza tunnels? And Streisand wants to vote for that party that couldn't care less. Also, by the way, Harris's boy, Tim Walz, is at a party tonight. He's in New York, too, in Southampton. He's at a fundraiser.
Out there in Southampton. Will the Cuomos be going? Will Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo come out of the compound of his brother Fredo, Chris Cuomo? Will be there? Will they be there for the scarecrow? But you realize you will become the subject at some point of the schnoz Barbara Streisand's conference call to all the Jewish women for Kamala, because you're the one who pushed the comment, crappy Jew.
That's true about her
you're
husband.
The poster child. They're going to have a picture of you, because they're all doing Zoom. A picture of you, you're the poster child, and oh my God, it's going to be Brooklyn schnoz versus Brooklyn schnoz.
I love this.
Streisand versus Sid.
She's going to win, bro. And I'm going to tell you, she probably won't mention me because I did, in fact, call Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, a crappy Jew, about 1,000 times.
Yes.
And I will do it again this morning.
Yeah,
he's a crappy Jew.
You're the reason they're doing this call.
It is because of me.
You started it, and then you had Trump on, and you doubled down on it.
And I got him in all kinds of trouble, the president of the United States.
I know that, but the point is, now just think the schnoz is going to be talking all about you. She is going to renounce you, denounce you, and now I must tell you that I will be part of a condemnation of you today.
Condemnation.
Oh. I don't know if you were aware of this, but I will be doing the 2 hours of Brian Kill Me today.
No, I'm not aware.
2 hours.
Okay, congratulations.
And that first hour, right after you, when you pass the baton to me, I'm going to drop the baton because I am doing a 1 hour tribute to CBS 880.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am. I just got permission from the boss, Chad. As you know, everybody knew Chad's over there. He used to be the boss. And I am going to defend the honor. Now, look, I am telling you, I traced this back. You may have forgotten. But when WCBS AM 880, which was always all news all the time, suburban, decided to take on the curse of the New York Mets in 2019 and become their flagship, they were doomed.
Well, but you say that.
They were doomed.
Well, hold on a second, though. You say that, and I know that OR also had Simone, Sean Hannity, God rest his soul, Rush Limbaugh. But before the Mets went to WCBS, they were on WOR.
That is correct.
And doing very well.
Women's only radio. Remember, it's become women's only radio.
You're right
it's
about
the
that.
only people who listen. The women who want to go to the matinee, on Wednesday. Oh, Rita, what show should I go to? Where should I have lunch?
You're right.
But let me get straight to why I will be honoring WCBS. You may not realize this, ladies and gentlemen, and especially Sid.
No, I realize everything.
Because he's so immersed in himself.
Don't give me Ed Bradley. Don't give me, who's the guy with the bow tie? Charles Osgood, who's been dead for 5 years.
Pat Summerall.
Okay, don't give me stuff from 50 years ago.
I won't give you his liver. Pat Summerall.
Right. Give me something in the last 5-10 years that makes them relevant.
I will.
Okay.
50,000 powerful watts unlimited. One of the first three, along with WABC and WNBC, which became WFAN.
That is true, yes.
One of the originals.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what their call letters were in 1926? WABC. It stood for the Atlantic Broadcasting Company. They were WABC. They then morphed into WCBS. Yeah. They were once one of us. It was sort of like Cain and Abel.
No, they were never one of us.
No, it was like Cain and Abel.
No, not at all. No,
yes.
No.
I am going to do a tribute to Lou Adler, to Deborah Rodriguez, Wayne Cabot, Rich Lamb, Gary Maurer. And I am going to demand from Chad Lopez that you get down on wounded knee, bended knee, and take the sword because you are a disgraziata.
So when I hand off every morning to Kill Me, I have great numbers, okay? And I love Brian, but the numbers, they don't stay the same. So when you do that, and you know that no one is kinder to you on the air than I am.
Yeah,
nobody.
That's true.
I call you a Hall of Famer.
You saved me many times.
No, but I think you're an amazing radio talent. Amazing.
I know, but you also saved me from getting fired many times.
Right. But you know when you do that this great audience that I build, that the rest of you struggle to keep all day, quite frankly, to be completely honest, you're going to lose about 40% of them when you do a tribute to a station. You know why CBS went out of business? Not because they're doing great, not because their ratings are great. I feel badly for these people. If they were getting great ratings like 1010 Wins,
Sid.
like WABC,
Sid.
like WFAN, they'd still be
Sid,
working.
How quickly you forget. Yeah. There, if not by the grace of Hashem for you, for me, JC, we would have been on the scrap heap. Cumulus would have taken the most iconic call letters ever in radio, WABC, and put it on the scrap heap with WPLJ. And
Nash Country.
And Nash Country.
But we had Hashem and, oh, by the way, a mortal soul named John Catsimatidis that saved us.
All right, so now watch me. You see how I normally do the Station of the Cross, right? The Roman Catholic way. The Greek Orthodox way is the opposite way. So I'm doing that now.
Is that true?
Yes, I know that because when I'm on the N train, I'm leaving Astoria. The cathedral was right there. And I see people on the train doing the sign of the cross backwards. And I know, oh, you're Greek Orthodox. They go, how'd you know? You're doing the sign of the cross backwards.
I never
This is
knew
the way
that.
I do it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, so...
You know, I actually first became aware of the genuflect when Mark Bavaro would score a touchdown for the Giants.
Oh, those were the days.
Those were the days. But yes, so they do it backwards, the Greeks.
Yeah. So I am dedicating the first hour to exactly that.
Well, good luck.
And wait. Yeah, like Ralph Edwards, this is your life. There will be call-ins.
Call-ins?
Call-ins from some of the greatest broadcasters of all time.
Can
at
you
WCBS.
get dead people to call in like Ed Bradley?
No, I can't channel people. I'm not like Hillary walking through the forest there of Chappaqua, the whitest suburb in America, where even the lawn jockeys are white, channeling Eleanor Roosevelt. I could have been president, Eleanor. I could have been president. I should have been in 2016.
Well, what about, I do like, honestly, Wayne Cabot. I don't know him. I don't know them at all.
They're all great.
But every now and then when that stupid New York radio message board led by Alan Snippen, the dentist, every now and then they'll attack me because they refuse to give me any credit. That's fine. That's okay. Great, Vin. But Wayne Cabot, whoever he is, he always runs to my rescue, so I love that guy.
Okay, so now he runs into the burning building of the New York message board, carries you out on his back, and this is how you pay tribute to him?
I feel bad for him.
Stabbing him in the back?
Well, for what it's worth, I went to Chad Lopez and I said, let's hire Wayne Cabot.
If Wayne Cabot was on fire in the middle of 3rd Avenue, you wouldn't even go out there and urinate on him to put out the flame.
That's not true, because if you say nice things about me and you try to help me, you automatically become a friend.
Ladies,
now, anybody else at that station who's never said a word about me, yes, I'd let them burn.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just say that I will defend the honor of 880
What honor?
AM.
They're out of business because they couldn't get it done.
Oh, wait a second.
Enough of this.
Okay.
God, I'm tired of it.
You keep saying that.
They couldn't get it done. Let me ask you something. If they were getting 7s and 8s in the ratings, would they be out of business in 2 weeks?
George,
no.
Wait a second. George Soros. Remember, George Soros wants.
See, this is where no one has any idea about this business. No idea. And I do, because I speak to these guys at Odyssey and everybody else.
So, wait. Is that security? Is that insurance? So if you get bounced from here, you go right over there? Is that why you keep talking to them? If they're the enemy, right, and you don't care about them, how come you keep back-channeling them? If cats,
Chris Olivero
sacks me here, bring me back there, right? Admit that, Sid.
No, I'm not going to admit that.
You know how many times you've been fired? You've been fired more times than me.
More times than the guys at CBS.
Exactly.
But Olivero's been my dear friend for 25 years. This idea that George Soros is running those stations is... You couldn't be more factually incorrect. He's got money in these stations. He makes zero programming decisions.
Don't you understand the mantra?
Zero.
The mantra here at WABC is we blame George Soros for everything.
I know.
There was a rainstorm. We blame George Soros.
We don't blame George Soros for everything. I'll tell you how I know that's true. When you look at this city, and somebody asked me a couple of days ago, they go, when you want Bill Spadia on, how is he still doing radio if he's going to run for governor? And I said, well, he hasn't filed the paperwork yet. Same thing with Curtis Sliwa.
No, he has filed the paperwork.
Oh, he has? So why is he still on the air?
Because they don't have a campaign finance board there.
In Jersey?
Correct. They just operate by normal FCC rules. Now,
see, you know everything.
There will be. Oh, I've been following this very closely.
Oh, listen, I started a war with those guys.
Right. But anyway, so the point is, right now he's broadcasting. At a certain point, he will have to leave.
He'll have to leave. But if you file papers here in New York, you got to leave that day.
Oh,
right?
my God, I'm gone.
You're gone. Okay.
And by the way, you'll never hear again my name here at WABC.
Oh, no, I'll mention you every day.
Last time.
No, I'll mention you every day.
You better.
You know who I still mention all the time? Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, I know that, but
I'm the only guy.
Yeah,
the only guy. Besides you.
When I jumped in the last time, all I heard here was Mateo. It became the Mateo Network, and I still beat him.
That's because Bernard liked him. Bernard, well, he liked him. He did. He liked him, Mr. Bodega, Mr. I didn't know who the freaking guy was.
Yeah, you had dinner with him. Don't tell me
it was French restaurant. Not dinner, it was lunch.
At a French restaurant.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, right by your house.
On
right?
104th and Broadway.
You stabbed me in the back.
What do you mean stabbed you in the back? I have built this campaign for you the last 6 months.
Yes, you have.
You're going to win.
Made amends.
You're going to win. But I can't blame George Soros for everything Eric Adams has done, can I?
Speaking of Eric Adams, slowly I turn step by step. The Devil Wears Prada. You spoke about that at the beginning of the week.
Love that movie.
Meryl Streep, right?
Anne Hathaway?
Yes, although you look like Stanley Tucci. And at times you act like him.
I get told that.
Oh, yes, you do. And oh, my God, you remember he was 3 snaps up in that movie. And with her red 6-inch stacked heels, remember?
Yes.
That was on the movie cover. And who wears red?
Jen Rajkumar.
That's right. And
she was at the Met game yesterday with Ruben Diaz Jr.
Yeah, but where is she on this question of India? Which brings the two powers, Pakistan and India, that both have nuclear weapons on the brink of a nuclear war. Let's put Iran and Israel on the back burner for a moment. So what does Eric Adams do yesterday? Very busy schedule as illegal aliens are committing crime all over the city, including Central Park. Oh, I'm going to use drones. Get the hell out of here. You brought them in here. This is on you, Eric. At 4:30 in the afternoon, he's down at Bowling Green. Every freaking day, he's raising a flag of a country he can't even find on a map, but never an American flag.
And some of these countries that hate us and hate Israel, for example, I don't know, Erdogan and Turkey.
He's raising the flag of Pakistan. How many rupees did he get? How many Pakistani rupees in an envelope? Does he not realize that Pakistan gave sanctuary to Osama bin Laden for years? Do you know how many blocks away from the World Trade Center Bowling Green is? You can throw a football to the site there. And remember...
And that's where we found him, right in Islamabad, in Pakistan.
Right outside there, the generals were protecting him. Our Navy SEAL team had to go in there and take him out. That's number one. Number two, what country was the recent assassin from who was to put together a hit team to get Trump right there on Coney Island Avenue in Brooklyn after going to Iran? Pakistan. And then before that, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of the World Trade Center that has been relieved of the death penalty. Where is he from? Pakistan. Who was the mastermind for the first attack of the World Trade Center? Ramzi Youssef, 1993. Where was he from, Eric? As they listen from City Hall. Pakistan. How the hell were you down there raising the flag of Pakistan that gave sanctuary to Osama bin Laden, who was responsible for the death and the continued death of all those people at the World Trade Center site? And you know what he's doing today? To balance that, and I don't know if the lady in red will be with him. What's her name there? Jennifer?
Rajkumar.
The lady in red. He's going to be raising the flag of India at 4:30. Hey, how many Indian rupees are you getting? But on the incident of the floral float in the Indian parade this weekend, Rajkumar has been silent, has taken the code of Omerta. She will not turn on her own people. Whereas Eric Adams will turn to any people who give him money. It could be dinars, it could be rupees, it could be euros. City Hall for sale. Hey, lady in red, the devil wears Prada. And you got to come up with an opinion on a situation in which Eric Adams is saying, I'll take money from both Pakistan and India because, you know, I've taken money from Turkey, from and from Red China. Oh, come on. Come on, lady in red. The devil wears Prada. It's time to say where you stand on the issue of the float in the India parade. Do you support your people, or are you going to side with the Muslims against your people? This is your battle. The devil wears Prada, Raj Kumarjo, whatever the hell your name is, lady in red. It's time to take a stand.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
When Kamala lays out her fake economic plan this week, probably will be a copy of my plan because basically that's what she does. Just remember, she goes to work every morning in the West Wing. Her desk is 10 steps from the Oval Office. She cast the tie-breaking votes that gave us record inflation, and for nearly 4 years, Kamala has crackled as the American economy has burned.
Hello, it's me. I've thought about us for a long, long time. Maybe I think too much, but something's wrong. There's something here that doesn't last too long. Maybe I shouldn't think of you as mine. Seeing you, or seeing anything as much as I do you.
Donald Trump yesterday in North Carolina. He's right. All Harris does is copy him. That's all she does. It's really incredible to watch what's going on here. And Bill O'Reilly. Bill's going to join me as he does every Thursday coming up in an hour. And as I told you, with this new technology, we're able to actually get ratings on every segment. And every segment. And there is no higher rated segment than me and O'Reilly. Somebody put on Facebook this morning, why does Sid talk about ratings? Nobody cares. Well, you stop it. Nobody cares. You don't care. I know what works. I know what people care about. You know why I talk about ratings? Because I get them. You know why other people don't? Because they don't get them. Right? They don't talk about ratings because they don't get them. But that's the name of this business. That's it. It's ratings. That's it. Well, ratings, which of course you would hope turns into advertising dollars. That's the business. Now, there are some people that don't get good ratings, but still do very well. Don Imus. Imus's ratings, for the most part here, were terrible. I kick Imus's ass. Kick his ass. But, I'm not the personality that Don. Don won 5 Marconi Awards. Don was larger than life. When they write the book, he's right there. 1 or 2 or 3 with Limbaugh, Stern, you name it. That's not me. As arrogant as I am, I admit that. But I kick his ass. I kick all your asses. And that's the name of the game. If WCBS 880 was getting great ratings, they'd be here tomorrow, and the month after, and the month after. That's how it works, folks. It's a tough business. It's cutthroat. If you don't get ratings and or generate revenue, you're done. That's it. Right? I mean, is that not the business, Lou? What are we talking about here?
I think it's the business, yeah.
As far as I know, that's the business.
Yeah, well, as long as I've seen it, it's the business.
That's it.
Stop talking about the ratings.
Yeah, but don't talk about ratings, Sid. Nobody cares. That's just... Anyway, Alex Traiman is going to join me next. So there's a story. This is hard to believe. Caroline Glick talked about it on Twitter yesterday. So did Mark Levin on his great show here last night. There's a story that has the United States tipping off Iran, giving them names of certain individuals in the Mossad, which of course is Israel's intelligence group, giving Iran names of Israeli Mossad folks. If there is any truth to this story, any truth to it, it is the worst, and I mean the worst backstab in the history of our country. Now, I got this same article from John McLaughlin, the great Trump pollster, last night, and I got to tell you, nobody hates the Democrats more than me. Nobody. Maybe Trump, Biden, Harris. But my first reaction was, there's no way this is true. Yes, I defended the Democrats. I said, there's no way this is true. No way. And then I started reaching out to people who wrote about it. And they said, well, don't be so sure. And one of those folks who said that was Alex Traiman, the CEO of JNS.org. So as Israel continues to embrace for this massive attack from Hezbollah or Iran, that's what they're talking about in Israel today. And that's what we're going to talk about with Alex coming up next. Plus, tonight, I'll be with Donald Trump, the president, in Bedminster, the Jewish event. And yesterday, I did a webinar with Trump's former ambassador to Israel, UN, David Friedman, about a group I'm now a delegate with, a part of. It's called One Jewish State. And we're running in the election coming up in March for the World Zionist Congress to make sure that there's never, ever, ever, ever a two-state solution. And on top of that, that Israel takes control of Judea and Samaria. All that conversation coming up next with Alex Traiman, CEO of JNS.org.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
But you say he's just a friend. Ooh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Hi, this is Ambassador David Friedman. I'm here in Israel to speak to you about the One Jewish State Party that is running for seats for a position in the World Zionist Congress. I'm flattered that they have chosen the name of my book as the name of their party. I'm flattered that they have endorsed my views and endorsed the movement that I have begun to lead. And I just want to tell everyone who's watching that I endorse their efforts. I think it's an important effort that they're engaged in, and I think hopefully it will bring the Zionist movement and the Jewish people to a safer, more secure, better place in this world.
Johnny was a schoolboy when he heard his first Beatles song.
It's my friend, Donald Trump's former UN ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, and yesterday I took part in a webinar, 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, that included a bunch of speakers, Rabbi Tully in Israel, my dear friend Siggy Flicker, she's amazing, me and David Friedman. And he talked about this group. We are the One Jewish State. That is the name of his book. That's going to run in the World Zionist Congress in an effort to wipe out any thoughts of a two-state solution and have Israel reign over Judea and Samaria. You know, his new book is coming out, Friedman. He'll be on in a couple of weeks to promote it. Again, it's called One Jewish State. Do you know that Chuck Schumer, I mean, you talk about crappy Jews. I know I told Trump Doug Emhoff, Harris's husband, is a crappy Jew, but Chuck Schumer is right there. Do you know that Chuck Schumer has a book coming out in February called, you ready for this? Anti-Semitism in America, a warning. That prompted my friend Caroline Glick, who works with Alex Traiman, to tweet yesterday, this is a joke, right? And it's got to be. Chuck Schumer, who's on that same list of crappy Jews like Doug Emhoff. But I'm working again with David Friedman. That was yesterday. And I'll be with President Trump in Bedminster tonight in another project working with Jewish people. And all this makes my friend the CEO of JNS.org in Jerusalem, where I'm going back between October the 5th and the 13th to do 4 more live shows from his beautiful studios. Alex Traiman, very happy. I know, Alex, this all makes you very, very happy.
Sid, I'm always happy.
You are always happy. It doesn't matter what the hell is going on, whether Iran's about to attack you, whether the U.S. is stabbing you in the back. You really are always happy. It's great.
Well,
try my best. We're here at a specific time and place for a specific reason. All we can do is, whatever God wants us to do.
That's it, right? So no matter what happens, you chalk that up to Hashem, right?
There's not a blade of grass or a leaf on a tree that doesn't move without God's providence.
I believe that, too, at this point in my life. But there was a time when I fought that rigorously. And it wasn't until I told you this story. It has nothing to do with Hashem. It was Jesus Christ, believe it or not. When I was driving through the I-95, Danielle was driving. I was too distraught to drive. My father was dying. And I saw a billboard of Jesus Christ in North Carolina. On the way back, driving to New York, driving north. And it said, Jesus saves. A true story. And I was sitting there crying, looking out the window. And I said, listen, man, if you can help me, do it. And my father came out of that coma. When I arrived in Westchester, the doctor said he's going to die. That's it, he's done. And 4 days later, really a miracle, he was out of the coma. He lived another 8 years after that. And that wasn't even Hashem, that was Jesus Christ. But my point is, at that point, I no longer argued whether or not a higher power takes a part in everyday life. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense. I'm not going to go into too deep there on the Christianity and that kind of stuff, but honestly, we've just seen so many prophecies come to light here in Israel with the ingathering of the exiles and making the desert bloom, and it's just miraculous that the Jewish people have come back to their land after 2,000 years in exile, have restored their biblical Hebrew language, and this is a country that, despite all of its challenges, is just it's really getting built up. Minute by minute, day by day. So many kids running around here, and the kids are happy. And I just see a good future for the Jewish people in the state of Israel, even despite the challenges that are here today.
Well, before we get to those specific challenges, what do you think about the work that David Friedman is doing? The One Jewish State, the World Zionist Congress. Again, I'm a very, very proud delegate. Took part and actually introduced Friedman on that webinar yesterday. What are your thoughts on what we're trying to accomplish?
I think it's so important. The push for a two-state solution is really what has gotten us into this mess that started on October 7th. The idea that the Palestinians should be sovereign and even 1 inch of the territory that is the tiny Jewish state, has just led to so much violence and terror and darkness. We signed the Oslo Accords and we got terror because we brought a chief terrorist, Yasser Arafat, to lead the Palestinian people, hoping that the world's largest terrorist, or would become a peacemaker. And obviously that was a big failure. And then we even pulled out of the Gaza Strip to create the pilot project for a Palestinian state. And look what it turned into. It became Hamas. It looks like Syria. It looks like Lebanon. Doesn't look like Israel. So these have been major, major national mistakes. And I think what David Friedman is trying to do is say enough, enough of the mistakes that the Palestinians have proven that they cannot live side by side with a Jewish state in peace. And they lose, if they want to fight a war for the land, well, we're in a war and Israel's going to win. And if we're going to fight it politically, then we need to fight it politically as well. And Israel still is going to win at this point.
If I'm correct, there's like 30 or 40 Muslim countries around the world. 30 or 40, if that's an accurate figure. All we want is one. Alex, all we want is one. That land which was given to us by God, by Hashem. And we have fought successfully time and time again to keep it. The Muslims have about 40 countries. All we want is one. Is that asking too much?
And it's a tiny one at that. I mean, it's
the size of New Jersey. It's the size of Jersey. Exactly. Where I'll be tonight with President Trump, by the way. I do want to get to this story that I know you're aware of. Caroline Glick, your partner there at JNS, your colleague, was all over this yesterday. And maybe you know the specifics better than I do. And Mark Levin talked about it last night. But the story is basically that the U.S. tipped off Iran, gave them names of Israeli Mossad folks who are out there who killed, actually, their number 2 in charge and all that. What do you know about this story? And when I first got this story yesterday, And I hate the Democrats. I defended them. I said, I'm sorry. I take every opportunity to kill them, and I have since October the 8th, as you know, Alex. But this one even seems too much for them. So two things. What do you know about this story, and do you think it could possibly be true?
Well, as you mentioned, Israel assassinated Ismail Haniyeh about 2 weeks ago in the heart of Tehran. He was assassinated inside a compound of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, which is supposed to be one of the most secure compounds in the country. And Iran said that they needed to respond. They said that there was an attack on their sovereignty, even though Iran and its terror proxies have been directly attacking the state of Israel for the last 10 months with tens of thousands of rockets, including 300 ballistic and cruise missiles and drones that Iran sent itself on April 13th. And the United States has been trying to do everything that it can to de-escalate the situation, which means to give Iran a pass for everything that it's done until now and just try to get Israel to stop responding. And they're afraid that if Iran does attack Israel directly, and all reports are that an attack on Israel this time would be larger than the attack back in April. Israel's saying that they would respond in kind.
They should because they should. I'll tell you what, if God forbid they throw anything towards a residential community like Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, I would take Tehran off the map in the morning. Same thing with Beirut and Lebanon. If they do that, then Israel needs to respond in kind. I don't give a rat's ass what Blinken and Biden and Harris and all these Jew haters, some of them not Jew haters, they just don't care. But I don't care what they say. Israel needs to react in kind.
Right, so they don't want Israel to react. That's the last thing that they want. So there's all kind of reports now about negotiations that have been taking place between Iran and the United States to pacify Iran, to give them gains or wins, so to speak, so that they have a ladder to climb down, so they don't need to attack Israel. So first, we've heard reports that the United States has committed to remove its troops from Syria and from Iraq. This is several thousand troops, which would be a massive retreat. It would be similar to the U.S. Pulling out of Afghanistan and in the middle of the night and leaving that territory to Iran. But the second thing that we've heard, as you've mentioned, is that the United States has given the Iranians information on 10 Mossad agents that may have participated in that attack on Ismail Haniyeh. Now, we don't have confirmation from the State Department. They say that that's categorically false. We don't have confirmation from the Israeli government that they perceive that the story is true. But it seems to be part of a greater theme here, which is that the United States wants to pacify Iran, let them get away with what they've done, and at the same time prevent Israel from striking back and winning this war and permanently ending the Iranian terror threat and nuclear threat.
Alex Traiman is the CEO of JNS.org. That's where I did my shows from last January and February. We'll be back from October 7th through October the 10th, coming up the 1-year commemoration of that awful day. Literally when this conversation started, I looked to my left. And in my newsroom, I've got these flat screen TVs. There's no sound on. I'm doing this show, obviously. But we've got, for example, today, MSNBC, CNN, and New York One on. I've got Fox News on here in my studios. I look to my left, and I see John Kirby being interviewed by John Berman on CNN. You know what they're talking about? How the Gaza Health Ministry, and I have to explain this to you folks. This is why I was kicked out of the State of the Union. Got very little press, but I was kicked out, removed, and nearly arrested when I screamed, "Says who?" at Joe Biden, because he had the balls to use the Palestinian Health Ministry's numbers to provide an argument that Israel is being too aggressive. They're talking this morning, not even possible. Gaza Health Ministry claims over 40,000 Palestinians have been killed in this 10-month war. I hate CNN. Why would they give the Gaza Health Ministry any talk as if that's a credible source?
It's that's the only source that they have. They're giving credence to Hamas as if they're a real and legitimate government. They're giving credence to Iran as if they're peacemakers. You saw that the New York Times and others, when Ismail Haniyeh was killed, they said that he was the peacemaker. He was the politician who was pushing for a ceasefire. These are terrorists. Okay, so it's not just the U.S. government. It's the mainstream media. It's the United Nations. Everybody is giving Hamas credence as if they're something other than one of the world's most horrific terror organizations.
So what's going on there today? Again, I had Friedman on a couple of weeks ago, and he said he's still there, David. He's coming back, I believe, in 2 weeks. But he said, Sid, I go to bed every night, and when I fall asleep, I'm afraid that at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to have to wake up and run to a bomb shelter because day after day, and I know this is a psychological warfare where the Iranians and Hamas and all these groups do particularly well, but they have told you folks since we assassinated that lowlife, they're coming for you. And you go to bed every night worrying about that. Where are we with that?
Yeah. I mean, psychological warfare is a part of it. The United States is definitely trying to get Iran not to attack, or at least to postpone their attack. There are talks underway now in Doha regarding a possible ceasefire in Gaza, and we've heard that Hezbollah and Iran both said that they're attacking Israel because there's no ceasefire in Gaza. So they're giving the possibility here that perhaps if a ceasefire is reached, that then they might stop firing on Israel. So if Iran and Hezbollah are looking for a ladder to climb down, perhaps the ceasefire talks are a pathway to a little bit of quiet here. Of course, that would just be kicking the can down the road because Hezbollah is still a potent threat, and Iran is still a potent threat that's close to becoming a nuclear power. At the same time, if these hostage talks, ceasefire talks fall apart, we still might be on the edge of a major regional escalation. I mean, we've talked about that many times, but the situation here just continues to boil.
Well, because the joke is that we hear these reports all the time. The United States has a ceasefire agreement. We're not calling the shots. We're not calling the shots. Egypt's not calling the shots. Qatar's not calling the shots. You know who's calling the shots? Sinwar. That's it. The guy, by the way, ironically, that we saved, the Israelis saved. We did brain surgery on this mother effer. We saved his life. And now he's hidden away in these tunnels, maybe with hostages, maybe not. And he ain't doing no ceasefires. All right. He wants war. He doesn't want a ceasefire. It's all up to Sinwar. Can we get this bastard?
I think we can get him. I mean, we got Mohammed Deif, who was the number 2 under Sinwar, and we got Ismail Haniyeh when he was deep inside Iran. So, I mean, if we can get these guys, I think it's just a matter of time before we get Sinwar. There was reports several weeks back that they had discovered where he was hiding in the tunnels and that he had literally just escaped. The soldiers that were there, and the Israeli news report said the coffee was still hot in the room.
Wow.
And they found tons of weapons and cash. Wow. Like a lot of cash in the room where he was. So he just fled for his life. And I think that that there is a lot of intelligence. With more time comes more intelligence. People say the United States is saying that Israel can't accomplish any more in Gaza. That's a New York Times report today. It's not true. The more time this goes on, the more intelligence there is, the more weapons they find, the more rocket launchers, the more tunnels. And I do think it's just a matter of moments, really, before we get Yahya Sinwar.
So in the final 60 seconds, the great CEO of JNS.org, folks, it's the only place to get your Israeli news. Just trust me, okay? Trust me. Alex Traiman. So I said a couple of times this morning, I am making my way to Bedminster, New Jersey after the show today. I'm going to see President Trump later on tonight. It is a Jewish event. That's all I'm going to say right now. That's it. And I know that you guys there in Israel love him, and I know how badly you want him, and more importantly, need him to win. But you told me something interesting yesterday about a blessing, whether or not he's got the blessing of Hashem dating back to 2020. What was that all about?
Well, I think that there's a major blessing for any American president to safeguard the Jews that live within their borders and also to safeguard and strengthen the state of Israel. We've seen, for example, how much Joe Biden has lost whatever blessing he had left since this war started because he hasn't been supporting the state of Israel. President Trump, when he was in office, he received many blessings for moving the embassy to Jerusalem, for recognizing Israeli sovereignty in the Golan. But then towards the end of his presidency, right at the end, he rolled out what he called the Peace to Prosperity vision, which actually called for canonizing Palestinian Authority rule in much of the disputed territories in Judea and Samaria. And honestly, I think that from that moment that he lost some of his blessing, and Prime Minister Netanyahu went along with it. And both of them, they both got out of office soon after that happened, because nobody has a mandate to take away land from the Jewish people. That's God-given land, and to hand it over to terrorists. I mean, it says it in the Torah explicitly, not to make treaties, with your enemies and with the inhabitants of the land. Right. And I think that that's Trump saw it. I think he saw the blessing and he saw the curse. You protect and strengthen the land of Israel, you can be protected and strengthened yourself. If you go against the blessing, you might find yourself losing the blessings as well.
Well, that's why what I'm doing with David Friedman, really what David Friedman is doing, I'm just a delegate hopping on his back, but that's why what One Jewish State is doing in an effort to win elections in the World Zionist Congress is so important, because our main platform is no two-state solution, no thank you. We're not kicking the Arabs out of Judea and Samaria. What we're saying is they're not voting, okay? They're not in charge. We are. You like that, yes?
I think it's a good idea. I think it can be very helpful. And it's good that all the rest of the Jewish people see that there are people fighting for this now, because it's very hard to get out of the two-state paradigm that we've been in here, since the Oslo Accords in the 90s. So, I think this is what's needed to change the dialogue, to change the paradigm. And, good, you're standing on the right side of history.
Alex Traiman, you're the best, buddy. If we don't talk before tomorrow, have a good Shabbos. And we're getting much closer to me being back in your apartment in Jerusalem for another Shabbos dinner. Sippy was so great last time. I can't wait.
Looking forward, Sid.
Me too. Alex Traiman, the CEO of JNS.org. That wraps up the first 2 hours. We got 3 amazing guests still to come. 3 of them. Alan Dershowitz in the 9 o'clock hour. I got Lizzie Savetsky to finally admit on air she's voting for Trump. She just lost a gig for $20,000. That's a true story. So it's hurt her. It's hurt her. But she said on this show yesterday, I did what I felt was right in my gut. Took courage. It's hurting her. Took courage. I'm trying to get Michael Rappaport and Dershowitz to do the same. Dershowitz said to me, let me see who she picks for vice president. Okay. She didn't pick the Jew. Obviously, I don't care what Axelrod said. She didn't pick the Jew because they don't want a Jew. She picked the guy that hangs out with Muslim clerics. A guy that hangs out with a teacher that thinks Adolf Hitler was brilliant, and a guy that's got a ton of selfies on the internet with Ilhan Omar. So today, I rest my case. Dershowitz coming up after Pirro and O'Reilly. If you don't admit today that you're voting for Trump and exit the Democrat Party, I can't help you anymore. Lost cause. Pirro, O'Reilly, Dershowitz. Keep it right here.
Suddenly everyone loves to hear him sing a song. Watching the world go by, surprising it goes so fast. Johnny looked around him and said, well, I made the big time at last. Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know that you are a shooting star? Don't you know? Whoa, yeah. Don't you know that you are a shooting star?
You're my best friend. This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends. 77 WABC.
I want Trump to be Trump. The authentic Trump is the guy that's won 3 consecutive primaries, is going to win 3 consecutive elections. When he has to be nice, he's nice. When he doesn't have to be, he's not. Enough with this nice nonsense, no?
Well, that was a great description. Do you mind if I just plagiarize from you? Do you mind? I can use those same words.
Thank you.
Because I'll tell you what, that was a very good description. Look, I want to be nice, and I'm a person that is nice. I have a lot of friends like you, but I want to be a nice person. They're trying to put me in prison. These are people. These are animals we're dealing with. These are horrible people.
Def Leppard. Yeah, that's Trump with me 2 weeks ago. I'm going to see President Trump later on tonight at Bedminster, but I'm tired of it. Wherever I go, I'm in the gym last night. I'm in lunch yesterday. Hey, can you tell your friend Trump? First of all, I don't talk to Trump every day. We're not that close. I'm arrogant. I'm narcissistic. I'm not an idiot. I don't talk to him all the time. I'll see him tonight, but even if I did talk to him all the time, let Trump be Trump. Let Sid be Sid. Let Trump be Trump. If I hear one more of you Republicans complain about him, I'm going to hurl you out the window. I'm tired of it. Let the Democrats do that. I just saw Mike Barnacle. Used to be a friend of mine. He's a dick, but he used to be a good friend of mine. He's killing Trump. Oh, again, yesterday in North Carolina, Trump hurling insults. Let them do that. I'm so sick of Republicans. Well, we just want him to win, and all the independent voters, stop it. Stop it. I don't know one person. I know a lot of people. I don't know one person, not one, that has still not made up their mind on who they're voting for. Not one. There are no independent voters. It's the most overstated, ridiculous talking point ever. It just is. Let Trump be Trump. Jeanine Pirro is usually on Wednesdays, but she couldn't make it. But she loves me so much, and I love her so much, that she's here right now. The best talent on Fox News and a great show here every Sunday. My friend Judge Jeanine. And Jeanine, I mean this. I'm so tired. You know, I never hear Democrat voters ever taking Harris to task, taking Biden to task, taking Hillary to task. And all these guys who are voting for Trump, mind you, all they do is bitch and complain. It's annoying me. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
Good morning, Sid. You're on a roll this morning. Look, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Trump should be Trump. That's the person that we want to be the president, an in-your-face New Yorker who's not going to take crap for the American people. He's not going to stand by while Putin or Xi Jinping or all the other ones make their moves around the world. We're on the verge of another regional war. We've got two wars going on. And right now, Iran is being fed everything they need by the United States and the Biden administration as they hold back arms to Israel. And I'm not even going to go into Israel because I heard you talking about it a little bit earlier. But the truth is that Donald Trump is the fighter that the American people need. And you know what? If he wants to call people names, look, these people, they impeached him, they indicted him, they tried to bankrupt him, they tried to put him in prison. Someone tried to assassinate him, and I'm not even going to go into that. A couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, you need to be nice. You need to be nice." Look, Kamala Harris this is day 25 full days, 0 questions. She gets away without doing anything, and she gets to change the media headlines on Google, and they're like, "Oh, but, we're real." No, she's a cheap fake. You want to talk about cheap fakes? She's a cheap fake.
Not only that, but hold on, but not only that, but wait. They want Trump to be nice, which, again, I'm telling you is overstated. This independent voter nonsense. Everybody's met at the mind at this point. She goes on every day, calls him a convicted felon. She calls him a rapist. He wasn't even found guilty of that every single day. But Trump needs to be above that. Enough.
Well, no, he doesn't need to be above that because this is a street fight right now. These are people who want to take him down and take him out. Let's stop kidding each other. These are people who will do anything they can, including just taking a president out in some kind of a takeover where they put someone in who hasn't spoken to the press and who literally she literally hasn't gotten one vote. So, they want Donald Trump to be Mr. Nice Guy. Well, then, maybe they shouldn't listen to what he's saying. But I listened to what he was saying yesterday, and he was on his game at that press conference yesterday when he talked about the economy. She needs weeks to prep to talk about the economy tomorrow. He talked about no tax on Social Security. Does that make sense to you? Of course it does. We've got all kinds of taxes. People have already paid on that money. No tax on tips. Kamala Harris comes out and she says, "I want no tax on tips." And get this, Newsweek comes out and they say something like headline, Kamala Harris, the tax proposal, and it goes on to say her tax proposal is supported by a majority of Republicans when it's Donald Trump's tax proposal.
She stole it.
The media is in sync with
it. I know.
The media is part of the lie.
At this rally in North Carolina yesterday, just to emphasize your point, Jeanine, because you're brilliant, he talked about the executive order to lower inflation. They're all bragging it's under 3%. No, dummies. Yeah. I speak to real economists. It's about 20%. No taxes and tips. He talked about Social Security. He talked about lowering prices on energy. He talked about lowering prescription prices. He talked about the largest deportation in history. This idea that he doesn't discuss policy. And yes, you know what? He's Ric Flair. He's Hulk Hogan. He's in the middle of that wrestling ring. He grabs the mic, and when he's not talking policy, he's fighting back at people that have destroyed him every day for the last 10 years since he's been on the escalator. Shut up already. That's Trump. He's not going to change. He's 78. He's been doing this for 10 years, and he's done pretty darn well, no?
He's done pretty darn well, and the truth is, I mean, anyone, and I have a lot of friends in the military, anyone who's been shot who gets up and says fight and isn't suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, but instead is in the middle of the fight of his life and gets up there and continues to fight for us. This guy is, I mean, he is beyond what anything that Democrats can put up for president. You know, this woman can't do anything. She's trying to separate herself from Biden. What is she so afraid of? She's literally saying, well, you know, Biden-Harris, I mean, this is not what I want to do. And she says everything now that Donald Trump is saying. Why? Yep. Because she knows that's what the American people want. She knows the American people want moderate, and they don't want a leftist. And her getting on television, and you need to hear this from me, when she does that commercial on how she fought the gangs on the border and all that other stuff, the sheriff that is in the picture right next to her said she wasn't anywhere involved for a year. It's the local police who did all the work. That's right. She comes into the green room, doesn't talk to anybody, and takes the credit. I get this. I get what's going on here. And it's the same thing with that bozo, a vice president of hers, and vice presidential candidate. I mean, this guy is trying to say that, you know, he was a commander, a command major sergeant when he wasn't. He's trying to say he was in war when he wasn't. He carried a weapon of war in war when he didn't. That he told his people he was leaving, and he didn't know that they were going to Iraq when he was in meetings for months about going to Iraq. And to me, this is consciousness of guilt. He didn't tell his immediate superior that he wanted to leave his battalion on the eve of their being deployed. He went above him so that no one would know he was leaving. Right. These people are frauds and they're cheap fakes.
You're right.
Donald Trump is the real thing.
Correct. And listen, he did serve 24 years. I'll give him credit. But as it turns out,
why wasn't that enough for him?
Right.
Why did he
then
have to lie?
Right. Then he turns it. Then he right.
There is a reason that it is a felony to lie about your military service, okay?
Yep.
People take this seriously. Shame on him.
Agreed. So the other thing I find funny is all I heard about for the last 3 years was from Harris and the Democrats, Joe Biden is the best president ever. She went, I swear to you know this, she going on and on. Well, this guy's done the infrastructure bill, this bill, that bill. She goes, this guy has saved our country. Then last week she goes, don't you worry, America. I'm going to fix it. Oh, hold on a second. I know I'm not that smart. If you were the greatest administration ever and everything was perfect, why do you have to fix it? Which she does because they broke it. But how can you make the same, both claims that you're the greatest ever and everything was perfect, but now you're going to fix it? Explain that to me.
Well, first of all, she's there, I don't know, someone counted it 1,300 days. She hasn't done a damn thing. She said in 2019 when she ran for president and couldn't even get to the Iowa caucus, she said, I'm going to secure the border. What the hell has she been doing for the last 3.5 years at 1,300 days? Okay, and now she says her advisors are telling Axios that she doesn't want to be defined by Biden-Harris. And then Karine Jean-Pierre says it's Biden-Harris. Of course she's proud of it. So there's a little fighting going on there. But I'll tell you what the problem is. Time is on her side. And the more she gets to go out there as a blank slate, the more Donald Trump has to push hard and define her. This is a woman that has forced New York City to spend $5 billion in the last year on immigrants. This is the woman who allows unvetted illegals to come into this country who end up raping and murdering and abusing women and children. This is the woman who's affecting your Social Security. Is there going to be any money in Medicare when you get to it? Because she wants to give health care to all illegals. And I have to stop for a moment. My mother, rest in peace, 91 years old. She was my backbone. She was everything to me. When she was 90 years old, she wanted to make sure that she paid the copay on, even though everybody has to have Medicare, she had her own insurance too, because she didn't want to be left without health care. To the day she died, she worried about making sure that was paid. Kamala wants to give it away when the Americans who fought the wars, who built the streets, who raised us, have to work like dogs. This is not what we want in this country. This woman is going to destroy this country. We will not be a nation state. We will not be a country. Putin and Xi Jinping are laughing their asses off right now. And I didn't intend to get this angry this morning because it's too damn early.
See, the same thing almost always happens. I'm all fired up by the time you come on, and by the time you hang up, you're ready to kill. You're ready to kill. So last thing, I guess it's a victory. I don't know. I mean, look, if anybody really believes that these animals, these pro-Palestinians, are not coming back with a vengeance when school starts again, they're somewhere between naive and stupid and closer to the latter. It's going to be worse. Trust me. And that's why this Colombia president walked away yesterday, because she's no dummy. She's like, I'm not coming back. They're coming back. Do you have any doubt of that? Any?
Yeah, look, the Manish Shafiq or whatever her name is, I mean, I'm glad she's gone. She should have been gone a long time ago. The fact that you and I even have to discuss the ability of Jewish students in the United States of America in 2024 to walk to class peacefully or wear a Star of David or a yarmulke, and that we have to worry about it is an outrage. If they were black, this would have been stopped by the Department of Justice. I am fed up with these people. We cannot tolerate this. This is a free country. And all of the Democrats, you know, and she's going to do her two-step, Kamala Harris. She's going to say one thing because she's a blank slate. Right now, people don't know who she is. It's only people who are really in the mix in terms of what's going on politically who know that even though she's alleging she was a prosecutor, she wants criminals out of jail. She wants to defund the police. She wants no cash bail. She wants to make sure that everybody is allowed into this country and that they get education, medication, and whatever they need. And they're going to break us. They're going to break our Social Security. We're not going to be able to survive this if she comes in. And you know what? I want a woman president someday, but it ain't this woman.
Maybe it'll be you. Well, we can't do that. We need you on the 5. I mean, what the hell are Waters and Gutbell going to do without you?
What will my 4 dogs do? Think about it. I love you, Sid.
I love you. Thank you for coming on this morning. You're an absolute treasure. I love you. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, and I watch the 5 because of her. I really do. I like Waters. He's fine. I think Gutfelder's overrated. But I love Jeanine. Anyway, we'll take a short break. She's also on Sundays on this station. And another 1-2 punch about to come your way. Alan Dershowitz in the 9 o'clock hour. And the highest rated segment of the week, any time, any day, any show, O'Reilly and Rosenberg, the great Bill O'Reilly, is coming up next.
Can't you see? You got the best of me. Whoa, can't you see? You're bringing on the heartbreak. Bringing on the heartache. You're bringing on the heartbreak. Bringing on the heartache. Can't you see? Oh.
77 WABC.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
No, I get by with a little help from my friends.
My man O'Reilly coming up. I'm putting together a big show for tomorrow. You know the regulars will be here, Curtis Tacopina, but Maria Bartiromo is going to hop on tomorrow. I love Maria. And Christopher Mad Dog Russo, part of that legendary Mike and the Mad Dog combination. He's going to hop on. He's all over the news today because he was on some podcast with a guy I don't think I know, Jimmy Trainer, and he took a whole bunch of shots at my guy Trump. So Dog, who is a great sports guy, maybe the best ever. You can make a very good argument, the best ever. He wasn't very nice to Trump this week. He usually stays away from politics. Now he's pissed off Joe Beningo and Sid Rosenberg, and he's coming on tomorrow. But let's get some traffic right now with Joe Nolan, and then talk to the great Bill O'Reilly.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. Hanging on the promises and songs of yesterday, and I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again.
Whitesnake, here I go again. He was the best. He still is the best. He'll always be the best. Whether it's 9 p.m. weeknights right here on WABC or his own amazing website, BillO'Reilly.com. Great stories, great columns, great interviews, great television. He the best. His Killing series is now 13 in, all bestsellers. Actually makes Chris Cuomo watchable. That ain't easy. I'm sorry. I know he tends to like Chris. Chris is a moron, okay? But he makes him watchable. He does. And I will tell you that coming off another huge ratings week for this show, that O'Reilly is hugely responsible for that. And on top of all of that, yesterday in the mail, I received my hard copy version of his new book coming out September the 10th, Confronting the Presidents. And as we speak, it's on my coffee table in my living room right now. And I'll be reading it this weekend. Here he is, the best ever, Bill O'Reilly. Good morning, Bill.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Who do you think Judge Pirro is voting for?
I can't tell.
No, I can't either. She's kind of crafty.
But I like that. I mean, I got to tell you, Bill, I'm watching Mike Barnacle. I'm watching CNN, and all they're doing is going on and on about Trump name calling yesterday. Enough.
I love it. Look, let me walk through this. So the far left, and that's MSNBC and Barnacle, and I go way back with Barnacle to Boston, where he was really a good columnist. He wasn't an ideologue.
Bill, don't forget, he was close with all of us with Imus. He got us Red Sox tickets.
Is that right?
Yes.
Barnacle got Imus went out of the house. I don't know.
No. He got me, Bernie, and Lou Red Sox tickets, but
right.
He was on Imus all the time with us.
Right. Imus, when he went home, was locked in the basement, was not allowed to go out in public.
Right.
Which is the way it should have been. It would have been way too many felonies. So you got Barnacle and you got all that crew at MSNBC, and they're offended that Trump is saying bad things about Kamala Harris. Like they've never said anything bad.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's 24/7 on MSNBC. He's the devil. He's Hitler. He's Ted Bundy. I mean, you just fill in the name.
Yeah.
And then when Trump goes out and goes, "Oh, she's dumb as a rock." Oh, we're so offended.
I mean, please.
Right. I mean, even the MSNBC audience, all right, would put down their crayons and go, "What? What? What is that?" So anyway, look, you're going to Mar-a-Lago tonight, right?
No, I'm going to. He's in Bedminster, New Jersey.
Oh, that's right, Bedford.
Yeah.
What's going on there? I wasn't invited.
Well, you weren't invited because it is he's got all these coalitions. He's got a coalition, African American. This is a Jewish voice coalition tonight.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, I can slap that yarmulke on. I'll put a shawl on.
Yeah.
I know everything about Abraham.
I know you do.
I can do 20 minutes.
I know. Hey, listen, you are well versed when it comes to the Jews. But it's funny you mentioned you going there tonight because in your morning message today, which I look forward to every day, we play it on this show about 7:30, and it's important, and people love it. They really do. You talked about how, one of these days coming up, based upon your history, there's a very good chance you're going to speak to President Trump. On the other hand, there is no chance you're going to speak to Kamala Harris. Isn't that true?
Yes, because Kamala Harris is not going to talk to anybody. I think she'll do a couple of interviews that they'll handpick, but she feels the Democrats feel they don't have to go through the press at all because the press is already with them. And so I don't expect her to do much press at all. I'm not sure about Trump because, I'm not one of these people that goes in and says, let Trump be Trump. I'm not.
That's me.
My slogan is, let Trump be smart. That's my slogan.
But who determines whether he's smart or not?
Me, of course.
Okay, fair enough.
It's whether everybody's smart. That's an easy one. All right? If you want to know who's smart, you just call me and I'll tell you.
I'm not going to argue.
All right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's let Trump be smart. And I think you're making a mistake by feeling that there aren't people who will switch their votes one way or the other. And I'll prove it by saying before Harris got the nomination handed to her by Biden, her approval rating was 34%. Now it's 46% or something like that in the space of a few weeks. And so it wasn't that people were analyzing Harris. People, and this is a shame, but people react to what other people tell them. So it's not that they're watching and listening and evaluating and studying. They don't do that. It's what they pick up in everyday conversation.
I agree.
So my message to Donald Trump, and you mentioned Cuomo. I was on Cuomo last night, and Cuomo was jumping up and down about the mass deportations of migrants, which is a big Trump theme. Okay, if I'm elected, we're gonna deport everybody. Well, he's not going to deport everybody because it's a violation of due process.
Well, did he say deport everybody or deport all the criminals?
No. He didn't delineate between criminals who absolutely should be deported.
Right.
And if he could do that, he would then ascend into one of the greatest president roles of all time,
right,
referencing confronting the presidents. Every foreign migrant with any kind of a criminal conviction here should be deported. Every one. Right. I don't care if it's jaywalking. You break our laws, you're here without documentation, you're gone forever.
Yeah.
That's it. Zero tolerance. But if once a foreign national sets one foot on American soil, they are protected by our Constitution. Therefore, they get due process. So you can't send federal marshals to their home, drag them out, throw them on a bus, and drop them off in Tijuana. You can't. And there's no court in the world that would certify that. So what I want Donald Trump to do, and again, I'm a fair analyst. I'm not a partisan or a rooter, but I've made it very clear to everybody on WABC and all of my other outlets that Kamala Harris would be the most disastrous president in our history. You're voting to hurt yourself and your family if you vote for her. And that's the truth. I don't care whether she's a Democrat, a mugwump. I don't care what she is. The woman is off the chart dangerous. She's Bernie Sanders in a pantsuit. Okay? That's who she is. So whether you hate Trump or not, Trump's not going to destroy the country. He did a pretty good job in 4 years that he was there. So that's my analysis. And I would like Donald Trump to borrow from me and be more precise in his language rather than get out there and throw bombs for a half hour so the MAGA people can jump up and down.
But he didn't do – I want to take a break. He did not do that. I can outline for you the 20 really, really juicy policies he talked about in North Carolina yesterday. He doesn't do it for 30 minutes. He peppers in Kamala this, Kamala that, and I'm going to explain to the audience why – to keep criticizing him, which we've done now for the better part of 6 years, certainly since 2020 over it, is silly because that's who he is. We'll come back with Bill O'Reilly, talk more about this. Plus, Bill did a great job talking about if he was moderating the debate, he would ask Kamala this question and Trump this question. I want to hear that again. The great Bill O'Reilly when we get back.
Going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. And I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. I'm just another heart in need of rescue.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Entertaining and informative.
Oh, you're my best friend.
77 WABC.
Nice little Phil Collins for you, fourth and final hour on this Thursday with Bill O'Reilly, the best ever. I don't just say that. It's not hyperbole. It's true. But I'm going to say this. Bill just said right before the break, he should listen to me, and I don't disagree with Bill. I don't. And not talk about Kamala personally for 30 minutes. And I said, he didn't do that. If I look back at what he talked about in North Carolina yesterday, he talked about making an executive order to reduce inflation. He talked about no taxes on tips and Social Security. He talked about lowering prices on energy. He talked about making America affordable again by doing what? By lowering prescription prices. He talked about, yes, deportation. So what he does is he'll talk for 30 minutes about the policies. Then he'll call Kamala stupid, which she may or may not be. I don't know. She very well may be. And then, like Bill just said, people go, all he did was talk about personal tax. And it's just not true. And I expect the Democrats to say that. That's all they've got. But here is my growing frustration. I'm becoming more like Pirro and even my late partner Bernard, in that when Republicans are doing it, what that says to me is they're looking for any reason not to vote for Trump. That's my feeling, Bill.
Okay, look, you got to deal with reality, Sid. And the reality is that Donald Trump should win this election on the issues. Right?
Yes.
So whenever he deviates away from the issues, the hate Trump media, 85% of it, of the country's media, hates him. All they're going to do is pick up that and amplify it. So you're right. Most of the rally in Asheville, North Carolina was spent on, here's how I'm going to improve the economy. But that will never get out. No one will hear it unless you're watching Newsmax because they cover the rallies. You'll never hear it. So that's the reality of the corrupt media in America. They are not going to report anything positive about Donald Trump.
True.
So and because I know more about the media, I think, than anyone.
Agreed.
Right? So my advice to President Trump, if he wants to win, is if you're going to go after Kamala Harris, do it funny. Because he's got a great sense of humor.
He does, but he's vicious, too, and he's a fighter. And I'm just going to say this.
Well, it's the difference between being a fighter.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that Trump, he should change anything about his essence. I love that, essence.
Good word.
Okay? Yeah. I'm saying when you have a gift of humor, use it.
But he's got both.
Get your point across.
But he's got both. I mean, look, I think he's the same guy. I don't know, and I know where you're coming from, and politically you're making all the sense in the world. I just think it's unfair at this point to expect this guy who's been doing this for 10 years the same way, winning 3 straight primaries, who's 78 years old, who's got a great sense of humor, but is also a Queen's fighter, to become, as my friend said this morning, Winston Churchill. It's unrealistic.
No, he doesn't have to become anything. He has to use discipline in this presentation if he wants to win.
He does. But
look, Sid.
Yeah.
I'm going to come over there and I'm going to have to ransack the studio if you don't. He needs women to vote for him.
Okay.
Women.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now I'm generalizing now.
Right, that's why Biden picked. That's why Harris is
women
there.
are smarter than men. Look at your wife and you.
Right.
There's no comparison. Danielle is 10 times smarter than you.
That's
okay?
true. Yes.
So women are smarter than men, but women are more emotional. They don't like, generally speaking, the attacks, but they will accept the humor of it.
Let me ask you this. In 2016, when Trump won, Bill, just to play devil's advocate, okay? And by the way, women are smarter, except in this election. She's not smarter. He's much smarter. But anyway, 2016, who did Donald Trump beat?
Well,
No. Answer who did he beat? He beat Hillary Clinton. He beat a woman, right. And he attacked her. He told everybody to put her in jail, and he still won. So clearly, he can attack a woman and still win.
No, he can attack Hillary Clinton.
Oh, she's the only one.
Onerous. Word of the day. She had a resume that alienated everybody. All right? Harris is an empty vessel. Nobody knows about her. And she's went out, got the big smile. Oh, I'm here. Hello. It's not Hillary. Hillary lost because people didn't like her. They felt that she was corrupt. All right? Her husband, Bill, is 1,000 times more likable than Hillary.
Agreed.
And that's why he won.
I actually think he won because people liked him then. I disagree with you. I think they liked him.
They liked Bill Clinton. Okay? That's why he beat Bush the Elder. If Hillary had run against Bush the Elder, Bush would have won a second term.
Right.
And you'll get all that in confronting the presidents. You'll see it all.
I can't wait.
But Donald Trump needs to win. I told him this when I talked to him. Again, I don't call him, but when he calls me, I said, look, you need to win, not for you, for the country.
Sure.
So if you have to pivot into a little bit of a different presentation, do it.
Do you know what the definition of insanity is?
Morning Joe?
Close. You could even say Morning Sid. I wouldn't argue with you.
You're not insane.
No, I'm close. The definition is we do the same thing over and over again, and we expect different results. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do from now on. He's not going to be that guy you're looking for. He is not. Doesn't matter what you say.
I don't know about that.
I know it. I know it.
I saw it at the listen to me.
Yeah.
I saw it the first 20 minutes at the Republican convention.
20 minutes. You're not going to get that, but 2 hours. He's not. That's not him. He's Ric Flair.
There should be a trap door underneath him when he speaks.
The question is
very simple. When he starts, then the trap door opens and he disappears.
That would be great. So the question is very simple because everybody, and you're not alone, everybody asks me the same question. The Republicans, they're voting for Trump and all they do is bitch about him. That's all they do. So
no, it's not bitching. It's constructive criticism because, and it's not just Republicans, all right, because patriots, and you're one, and I'm one. We want the best for our country.
Sure.
I fear that he may not win.
Me too.
And I want him to be as effective as possible.
Sure.
So that doesn't happen.
Agreed. But if he doesn't win, it's going to be because this country is filled with Democrats, and they love the fact there's a black female running, not because he called her stupid, North Carolina, and I believe that to the end of the day. So the question is very simple. If he doesn't change, and he's not going to, same guy, 10 years. If he doesn't change, can he win?
I don't know. I would be irresponsible of me to make a prediction. He doesn't have to change. He has to modify. Okay? So the big tell, I hate to use a cliche, of this election is the debate on September 10th, same day the president's comes out, okay?
Yep.
So when Trump walks into that debate, he has to have the same mindset that he walked into the Biden debate with. I'm not going to be overbearing, okay? I'm going to be in, and I'm going to be surgical. And I'm sorry, Sid, you can't tell me that a guy that smart cannot do that. He can. I went out 4 shows with him. I did 8 hours of interviews with him on history, on policy.
Right.
And he was as sharp as you could possibly be.
Because he didn't have to worry about you attacking him. So he's going to go out there with the intent to be exactly what you want,
and she's going to call him a convicted felon, and you can talk to your blue in the face. He's not capable at that point of saying, ha ha, that's okay. He's not.
We disagree. I think he is capable.
I don't.
He takes the Ronald Reagan line. He looks at her, and he says, that's all you got.
He's not Reagan. He's Trump. And he's a nut. And I love him. I love him, and this is him. So what would you ask him at that debate if you had one question?
So I would ask him, along the line of our discussion here, when you go after Vice President Harris, you know your MAGA voters are going to love it. They're going to love it, all right? But are you going to persuade women voters who aren't in your camp but are on the fence? Do you believe that attacking her personally are going to persuade these independent women to vote for you? And why?
That's a great question, but here's the better part, okay? And only you can do this. And this has been, I have to say, an incredible 20, 50 minutes. Here's the better part. The question is great, but what I want you to do is answer it. Answer it the way you think Trump should answer that.
All right. So if I'm Trump and I ask that question, number one, this is absolutely speculation because I have no idea how he would answer the question. I don't know. I would say, listen, this woman is dangerous. And by me going after her hard, I'm bringing attention to that danger.
That's right.
That's how I would answer the question.
Great answer. Great answer. Okay. What would your question be for that dangerous woman?
Well, here we go. This is a question that'll never be asked of this woman, ever, because nobody has the stones to do it. I do, you do, but none of the corporate media would ever do it. Because you start fact-based, okay? You said, Ms. Vice President, on this date, you said publicly that Americans should contribute to this organization to help bail out looters and rioters in Minneapolis after the George Floyd confrontation.
Love it. Love it.
Were you sympathetic to those looters and rioters? Why did you do that?
And just like we did with Donald Trump, if you were Harris, how would you answer that?
What the vice president would say is, Donald Trump caused all the riots, and he should not have been bailed out at all. He's going to blame everything on earth, right, including the flop of George Clooney movie on Donald Trump. All right?
He is, yes.
Everything.
Yes.
That's all she's going to do. So she's already done it. Trump is responsible for the border collapse.
Right.
Trump is responsible for inflation.
All of it.
Right.
So when she looks at Trump at that debate and goes, okay, she looks at him and you can play Trump here and she goes, I know people like you. I made a career. I made my bones in putting people like you, predators, in prison in California. You don't fool me. You're a convicted felon. You're a rapist. You don't fool me. You expect Donald Trump at that point to turn into what? Into Jerry Seinfeld? Into somebody likable?
I don't think Harris would ever say that.
She'll say all that. 100% she will.
Okay, well, we'll see.
And if she does, what do you want? What do you expect from Trump? Because I want realistic expectations.
Trump would turn around and would say, this is what I would say if anybody's. I said, number one, you don't know anything about these cases regarding me at all. Number two, everyone who's fair-minded knows these prosecutions never should have taken place. And we have a legion of attorneys testifying to that. And number three, you don't have any policy improvements. All you have is gutter sniping. You live on gutter snipe alley. That's it.
That's a good response. Man, I hope you can do that because that's a really good response. I mean that. That's a great response. Well,
when somebody attacks you personally, you don't want to get into the mud with that person. You want to rise above it, but point out very, very authoritatively what they are doing.
Yeah.
You don't have anything, madam. You don't have any solutions. It was your fault and Biden's fault that all of this catastrophe happened, and all you can do is personal attacks. Shame on you.
The reason why you can say all this, I'm going to give you credit. Well, no, it's not true necessarily for everybody, but you actually operate your life that way because you were treated very unfairly, incredibly unfairly. You were besmirched and beaten nearly to death, and that's how you operate. So when you say that, it's credible because that's how you live your life. Again, I'm not sure that could ever be Donald Trump or Sid Rosenberg, but to your credit, you're not just saying it. That's how you live your life. So,
but the strategy we imposed in that time has led to phenomenal success.
True.
And that's the point I want to get across to Trump.
Yep.
If you take my strategy, what we did, we just ignored that. And we built the most successful independent news agency in the world.
Yes, you did.
In the world.
Yep. You did.
By avoiding mudslinging with these pigs. And they are. They are. Now, if Trump could just step back and see the big picture, he wants to get back into the Oval Office. The best way to do it is to rise above the personal and emphasize the policy. And you tell him that when you see him this weekend from me.
I'll tell him tonight. I will. Whether he listens or not is another story, but you were amazing as always, and I'm really excited. I got the book. It's on my table, the hardcover, Confronting the Presidents. Danielle's in Florida. I'm alone. I get to spend a lot of alone time this weekend reading your book. I can't wait. Comes out September the 10th, as Bill said, the same day as a debate between Trump and Harris. And what I said earlier, this show's success, a lot of it is all about you being on at least once, sometimes twice a week. So thank you as always for a great appearance. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Sid. Thanks for having me in.
You're the best. Bill O'Reilly. Take a quick break. Fourth and final hour to come your way, including Alan Dershowitz after Lizzie with the news.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends.
77 WABC.
Give me a check for an airplane. I ain't got time to check no faster. Oh, the lonely days are gone. I'm coming home. Oh, my baby, she wrote me a letter.
Louie's telling me that we're coming up on the 55-year anniversary of Woodstock. And I know you're tired of hearing it, but I'm going to say it again. My mom, Naomi, who you love, she'll be back on next week. It's been a couple of weeks. The house that we live in over the summer, and more than that, really through much of the fall before she goes to Aventura like every other good Jewish lady. That house, which my mom and dad bought, got to be almost 40 years ago, is exactly 1 mile from Yazgo's farm, the actual site of Woodstock. And so my dad became a member of Bethel Woods. It's a beautiful place, beautiful museum. They got a great amphitheater, live shows. I've seen everybody from Counting Crows to the Goo Goo Dolls to Elton John. And just last month, I took Danielle and Gabe to see Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson and Robert Plant, Joan Jett, Alanis Morissette. They've got the best shows in the country. My guy Eric does a great job up there. Susan Otto, too, in Bethel. So, for like 25 years after 69, I guess 94, They celebrated the 25-year anniversary of Woodstock, and they did it in Woodstock, New York, which is nowhere near Woodstock. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. They were like in Saugerties.
Yeah, which is close to Woodstock.
No, it's like an hour and a half away.
No. The Woodstock, New York?
Oh, right by Woodstock, New York.
Yeah,
right.
that's what you meant.
Yeah,
right?
but it's nowhere near the actual Woodstock.
No, it's not near that at all.
Right,
No.
exactly.
No.
And you know, on a day, there are some folks that are still alive, not many. You know, we know, of course, that Hendrix is dead and Janis is dead and Cocker is dead. There are a couple of folks that are alive. I mean, at least bring back Melanie or somebody. I don't know. They have Peter Gabriel.
I think she's dead, too.
Is she dead, too?
I don't know.
Is Richie Havens dead?
I think I'm going to...
Well, some of the Grateful Dead is alive. I know Jerry's dead, but some of that band is still alive.
About 3. Bob Weir is alive.
There you go. Bring back Bob Weir. Well, that's what we did in Bethel. You know, we brought back some of those acts. I'm going back for Labor Day.
Okay.
I don't know who's going to be there performing, but we'll probably go see a show.
I'm glad it looks beautiful now. It didn't look beautiful back then.
Oh, it was gross. It was gross. The people were disgusting. The traffic was forever.
They left it a disaster.
Oh,
area.
a disaster.
Disgusting.
Garbage everywhere.
You wouldn't want to see a show then after the 3 days were over if they paid you.
You're right.
It was just the irony of all ironies, peace and love, and love the planet, and they left it a disgusting garbage pile.
100% true.
It's after both Woodstocks.
I know.
Just gross.
I know.
So people are a disgusting
Well, people
breed.
in general are disgusting. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
So this
Let me
whole
quote Joe
thing-
Beningo. Let's be honest, bro.
It is true.
People are gross.
Just go online and look. You'll see
I know.
the most disgusting things. You wouldn't let an animal walk through there.
It's true. My buddy Shane checks in. He goes, great effing interview. Tough, smart. You know Trump. He is brash. He is aggressive. Trump is going to be Trump. He's not going to conform to what Bill wants from him. Or Harry Mazer just texted me. Facts are facts. Great job. You know, I'm having the same argument for 5 years, folks. It gets dumb after a while. Didn't we have the same argument in 2020 when he's running against Biden? Got to be nicer. Stick to the policies. He doesn't do it. I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. That's where you guys are lost. You're arguing with me when I agree with you. He probably should more, but he ain't going to. This is Trump. 10 years he's been the same guy. You want him to conform now because you've decided that when he calls Kamala stupid, he pisses women off. Yet, when he said Hillary should be in jail, that was okay because they didn't like Hillary. No. This is Trump. This is him. Here's what you should be voting on, folks. Anti-cops, destruction of people and business, throws rules out the windows, no laws, no order. Harris believes 2 genders is not true. There are 3 of them. It goes on and on. Good job here by Shane. But, you know, this idea that women are stupid, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I don't think women are stupid. I don't think they need to be caressed. You know, they're not afraid to be cursed at, criticized. They're not, especially if it's true. And I don't care where Harris has ascended to. If you know anything about her history, Mayor Brown, like I said the other day, her policies include, well, this wasn't all that nice. I know that. Her positions include missionary and doggy. Yes, I said it. Alan Dershowitz is coming up. Will today finally be the day? Will it finally be the day when Dershowitz says, enough is enough, like Lizzie Savetsky, I'm voting for Trump. He said to me last time, I want to see her VP choice. He was hoping, I'm sure, it would be the Jewish guy, Shapiro, but she will never pick a Jew. She picked a guy instead who's hanging out with folks who love Hitler, Muslim clerics, Ilhan Omar. So based on what he said last, Dershowitz today should 1,000% admit he's voting for Trump. Yet something tells me he won't do it. But we're going to find out. Dershowitz, next.
and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
Good tune, Louie. Saw this on my friend Lynn's Facebook page. Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith had a longer news cycle than Donald Trump getting shot by a sniper. That's true. If you don't watch Fox News or Newsmax, you never hear that story anymore. Ever. No one talks about it. No questions have been answered. None. Zero. They don't talk about it. So, look, you guys know how close I am with Joseph Tacopina. He's an amazing attorney. Arthur Idala, great attorney. My own gorgeous wife, Danielle, great attorney. But I'll admit this, the best attorney that I've ever met in my life is Alan Dershowitz. He's the best. Constitution, he's just the best. But last time I spoke to Alan, he said to me, I'm getting fed up with Biden and Harris, blah, blah, blah. I want to wait to see who she picks for vice president. And I think when he said that, he was hoping she would pick Shapiro, right? Because Jewish guy. Well, she didn't. And she didn't because she wasn't allowed to, because the Democrats hate the Jews. So not only did she not pick Shapiro, but she picked this garbage out of Minnesota who hangs out with Muslim clerics, who hangs out with a teacher who says nice things about Adolf Hitler, and has more selfies on the internet with Ilhan Omar than his own wife. So based upon what Alan Dershowitz said last time, I'm presenting this to the jury, there's no more talk. He should be voting for Trump. I don't care how much he hates him, his wife, I don't care. That's it. On the VP choice, if that's what he was waiting for, I rest my case. Mr. Dershowitz, good morning.
Great lawyer. Hey, I'll hire you anytime. Look, I don't hate Donald Trump. I actually like him as a person. I have a very good relationship with him. He's called me and asked me for my advice about Israel. He said the other day about me, he said, if people like Alan Dershowitz who support Israel continue to vote for the Democrats, they have to have their head examined.
And by the way, I'll be with Trump tonight. He loves you. Loves you.
Yeah, well, he said he had to have my head examined.
Yeah,
if you examine my head, you'd find an open mind. I'm not going to make a decision until like November. I want to see both sides. I want to see everything. Look, I'm having a very, very, very hard time voting Democrat.
Well, hold on. Did you not tell me last time, Counselor, hold on. Did you not tell me last time you were going to be ready to make that choice after the VP pick, which was a horrendous pick? Now what?
It was a horrendous pick. Let me tell you that the only reason Shapiro was not picked, if his name was John Shepard, he'd be the vice presidential nominee. The reason he wasn't picked is they know that if a Jewish Zionist were the vice presidential nominee, the Democratic convention would not be able to be held. There would be riots and demonstrations and violence and boos. Nobody would be allowed to speak. Clinton would be interrupted. Everybody would be interrupted.
You know what's sad about what you just said? You're right.
Could not stand
that would happen.
Jewish Zionists being a Democrat.
So how could you vote for that party then?
Well, I'm not voting for that party. That's the point. I'm not voting for the party. I don't vote Democrat. At the end, I evaluate all the pros and all the cons, and I make a decision. I also have to, I love sleeping with my wife, and I love talking to my children.
I know.
And as you know, my wife, my children, they have very strong views on this matter. So we're all subject to pressures. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to vote for the right person and against the right person. I hate the fact that this vice presidential nominee has cozied up to these Hitler-loving bigots, and that the Democrats today, many of the Democrats, are kind of held hostage by the extreme hard left, which is the anti-Semitic hard left. I also watch reports that say, maybe the U.S. administration actually told Iran the name of the Mossad agent who allegedly killed the head of Hamas. My God, if that happened, that's essentially treason. So I'm very troubled. I'm politically homeless. I listen to you. When I finish being on your show, I say to myself, I'm going to vote for Trump. And then I listen to my wife, and I say, I don't know. Can I?
But
really
you're talking about. Let me talk about that, because I love your wife. I love your children. I really do. And I'm not just saying that to be nice.
Wife.
Yeah, I love her too. But let's say abortion is the question, okay? Abortion. That's fine. That's fair. It's great. I got to tell you, Alan, he is much more moderate and much better in his approach. 16 weeks is far from embarrassing.
I agree with you. For me, it's a question. And Trump probably could earn my vote if he just stuck to the issues and stopped the name calling and stop attacking people.
Okay, fine. So I just had this conversation with O'Reilly. But why is it okay? But why is it okay? Hold on, because I just had the same conversation with O'Reilly. Why is it okay for Harris to call him a rapist? By the way, that's a court case because he was not. Right. And a convicted felon. Why is that okay?
It's not okay. And it's not okay for the Democrats to weaponize the system. Look, Marchand ought to be disciplined. He is trying to figure out a way of sentencing Trump to prison on September, mid-September before the election. He's trying to influence the election. He's horrible. And you're not going to get me to support the Democrat weaponization. You have a job to do. I have a job to do. Your job is to get Donald Trump for the next so many weeks to stick to the issues, to talk about how he supported Israel, how he supported the economy, how he was a good president for 4 years, how he's not going to destroy democracy. You do that job and then get back to me, and maybe I can persuade my wife and my family, he's not as bad as you folks think he is. So it's a lot. By the way, a lot of Jews, a lot of pro-Israel people, Christians and Jews, are having the same problem I'm having. That's why still 60% of Jews are probably going to vote for the Harris ticket. They're going to do it with their holding their nose and preventing themselves from barfing when they do it. But they're going to do it because this is not going to be a vote for them who they're voting for. It's going to be a vote who they're voting against. So we all have jobs to do. We have, a few weeks to do it, and let's all do our jobs. Your job is to get Trump to stick to the issues.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do that, I have to be honest. I can do a lot of good things, but that's a bit...
You can. You can.
So you'll be proud of me. Yesterday, first of all, I'm going to see Trump tonight because I'm part of...
my best.
I will.
My best. Tell him there's nothing personal here.
No, he knows. He knows. I'm part of the Jewish Voice Coalition. But yesterday, Alan, you would love this. So I become very, very close with your friend David Friedman, the former ambassador.
He's fantastic.
Great. So
he's great.
Great. He wrote a book.
One of the reasons I might vote for Trump is who we would appoint. If he appoints Mike Pompeo, who's probably one of the greatest foreign policy people in our history, if he appoints David Friedman, he's getting very close to getting my vote.
He's doing both. And by the way, Friedman can work in any one of three positions: UN Secretary, Israel Ambassador, and don't be surprised if he's being mentioned for Secretary of State too. But the reason why I was with David yesterday, he's in Israel. Yeah. We did a webinar. So he convinced me to join this group, and we're called One Jewish State, okay? Mm-hmm. And we're going to run in the World Zionist Congress elections coming up in March. Okay. And we obviously are the conservative arm of that Congress. And what we are really trying to convince Jewish people of when they become a delegate like I am is we're running on these two things. Ain't no two-state solution. No two-state solution. That's over. And even more importantly, B, we want Judea and Samaria to be a part of Israel. Arabs can stay, but they're not voting, and we're running the show. What do you think about this effort by me, David Friedman, and hundreds of others?
Well, I don't agree with it. I want to keep the two-state solution on the table for the future, not this year, not 10 years from now. I want to see whether it's a possibility that Hamas will be destroyed, that a Palestinian Authority could be created which would live in peace, neighborliness. Remember, the Palestinians had the opportunity to have a state in 1937, 1947, 1948, 1960, 2000, 2001, 2005, 2007. They rejected it every time. So it's all their fault that there's not a two-state solution. But I think it would be better for Israel if there were a peaceful Palestinian state living next door. And, for me, I'm not an Orthodox Jew, and therefore Samaria and Judah, are not biblical imperatives for me. I want to see peace. I want to see lack of violence. And if it requires compromise, I'm prepared to do compromise. And so is Bibi Netanyahu. He said painful compromises will be required on both sides. Right now, the other side doesn't want to do compromises. They don't want a state. They just don't want there to be a Jewish state. That's their goal. And so I think I'm with you on a lot of the underlying assumptions, but I don't want to give up yet on the possibility 10 years, 20 years from now of a two-state solution. I won't be old enough to enjoy it. You'll be around to enjoy it still. And let's see what happens. But I'm not prepared yet to give up on the two-state solution.
You just made me sad. I don't ever want to think of a world, United States and Israel, a courtroom without Alan Dershowitz. So don't ever say that again, please, because I want you to live forever. I mean that sincerely. So as you wrap up this great conversation, I really did get sad there, Alan. Don't do that. As you wrap up this conversation, just be very, very specific then. Very specific. DNC starts Monday. You know what that is. One big silly pep rally. I was in Milwaukee. After that, after the DNC, what do you need to see specifically to finally make up your mind?
Well, I want to see the United States stand behind Israel. I want to see the United States destroy Iran's nuclear reactor. If the Biden administration destroys Iran's nuclear reactor, I will vote for the Biden administration. I want to see them do something to make Israel safer. But if the Biden administration does what it's doing now, making threats, idle threats, continuing to give enormous amounts of money to Iran that they can give then to their surrogates to destroy Israel, they're not going to get my vote. So I want to see the United States. What I would like to see is the United States move in a direction that allows me to vote Democrat. Right now, they haven't done that because I want to see Israel's safety and security assured. I want to see America. Remember, too, scratch an anti-Zionist and you're going to find an anti-American. You're going to find somebody who hates America. Yep. The vast majority of kids going back to college, these useful idiots, they don't know anything about the Middle East. They don't care about the Palestinians. Have any of them ever said a word about Sudan, where 2.5 million people may die as the result of starvation, genocide? Nobody gives a damn. Black lives do not matter unless they're taken by white people. If black lives are taken by black people, like in the Sudan, that's page 28. If you get it at all in the New York Times. So the hypocrisy of black leaders focusing on Gaza without focusing on their own people in the Sudan is appalling. And we're seeing that all over the country. We're seeing it on university campuses. And I dread the fact that starting in September, we're going to see it all over again. Now we have a new president at Columbia University, a new president at Harvard, new presidents all over, but that's not going to do it. These students are our future leaders, and they have been propagandized against Israel, against America, against Western democracy, against you, against me, and that's our future unless we change it.
That's a great appearance. Really amazing. I'm going to say this to you. After this show is over, Alan, I'm going to go out and go apartment hunting because you and me, we're going to live together. Your wife's going to leave you because you're voting for Trump. So would you like a 2-bedroom? Would you like a 3-bedroom?
She won't leave me. She just won't sleep with me. That's all. She just won't leave me. But she loves me.
Of course she does.
Yeah.
How could she not love you? I love you, too. Thank you for coming on. It's always fun. It's always special.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Alan. All right. Take care. There he is, a great attorney, Alan Dershowitz. I really do love him. What a brilliant man. We'll come back and wrap things up right after this.
Let inside.